Today is going to be a busy one, to put it very mildly. Here's the S&P 500 right now, roughly flat, just slightly above where we closed yesterday. If you look at the NASDAQ looking pretty similar here. They're both pretty choppy, and we have to talk as well about USO because oil is going to be in focus. This thing is gapping up pretty extensively. In case you missed it, there were more strikes here, this time from Iran, though US and Saudi Arabia actually responded to those Iranian strikes. So unfortunately, these Middle East tensions continue to be in focus, but there's a lot of housekeeping to get to. We will have at 2 p.m. today, so exactly 6 hours from now, we're going to get that FOMC rate decision for the month of July. We are expecting here that rates will be held, though there is a growing minority that expects we could actually get a 25 basis point cut. So keep an eye on that. Then at 2:30 p.m., so half an hour after the decision, we will get our second ever Fed conference here from new Fed Chair Kevin Warsh. So that's going to be on watch. There's not really any other economic data to talk about ahead of that decision. So definitely keep an eye here on 2 p.m. and stick with us because we'll take you through that rate decision. Tomorrow morning, though, even more economic data, including core and non-core PCE, as well as the GDP growth rate. Earnings are going to be in focus to talk about some of the earnings that we had last night. You had SK Hynix, I think probably the biggest here. You had Bloom Energy last night as well, and Seagate. Then before the bell today, you had kind of running the gamut here. You had everything from health names to some of these fintech plays like SoFi. So lots to discuss. And tonight after the bell might be one of the biggest earnings days. You've got Meta, Microsoft, Qualcomm, Robinhood. There's going to be so much to discuss and so much to get into. So good morning, Sharif. Let's get into this very busy Wednesday.
Yes, Adair, let's. Microsoft with the highest short interest it's had in over a decade, guys, going into this earnings report. This is going to be an interesting one today. They have been really hit hard with the software Mageddon, SaaS Mageddon, whatever you want to call it. Meta, of course, is going to be in focus as well after the bell. All going to be listening to see whether he can monetize all that CapEx. We're thinking about cloud here, as Adair mentioned, USO in focus. SK Hynix, NXPI, a lot of semiconductor names as well, KLA reporting, STX, Seagate as well, and then you also have Skyworks up on or down aggressively on the morning, almost SSR here, 9 1/5. Ford continues to recover off area lows. Visa reported after the bell. You also have Teradyne up 9.5%. Global Foundries with a good deal there with the U.S. government. They're up 6 2/3. Bloom Energy up 9.1% after getting hit after that short report. And Dare mentioned it, Humana in the pre-market here, 7.7% negative. Procter & Gamble, the bellwether as well, Adair down 2 2/3. And SoFi, don't look now, it's down another 4%.
Yeah, SoFi by far the name that our viewers are the most excited about this morning. So keep tagging those tickers in the chat so we know what you guys want to talk about, both heading into the bell and throughout the entire trading session. I also want to take a quick look here at Blue Ocean. This is just the largest names traded, or the most names traded here by notional. So number one here by notional is going to be SOXL. You're seeing a lot of these chip plays in focus. Number 2 and 3, both memory plays, Micron and SanDisk respectively. You get another semiconductor ETF, this one Bearish in 4th place and 5th place, just the overall NASDAQ here, QQQ. Then you get some South Korean names here. That's actually going to be the next 3 names. So you get the KORU South Korea ETF, the EWY South Korea ETF, and then SK Hynix is US traded shares, or US listed shares rather, in 8th place. Then in 9th place, NVIDIA, and in 10th, DRAM. So memory, tech, and South Korea really being watched here and traded very heavily and closely over in Blue Ocean. So now that we've looked at what happened last night and some of the many earnings that we had in focus, it's time to talk to Neil and Sean. Good morning, guys. Are you ready for Fed/earnings/oil?
Oil?
Yeah, I think we're pretty much ready for everything. I mean, Randy's ready for Ford. He's very impressed with the Ford, up 5% there today. So
Ford.
Like what Ford actually doing quite well. Right
busiest day of the quarter.
$16.
Okay, fine. Hey, good day for Ford.
I'll take it.
Fair enough.
Take it.
But
not a great day for SoFi.
No.
What were you going to say, Blue Ocean?
I was going to say the Blue Ocean last night, you want to look at volatility. Like SK Hynix is down 1%, right? So you would think, oh, well, nothing really happened with their blowout quarter that somehow missed expectations. 550% growth. This is what it looked like in the Blue Ocean session. 138 high, 114 bottom. A $24 range, almost straight trend down before, catching a bit of a capitulatory bid. Like, this is why they're talking about things like over there. They're just very concerned about these 2x daily levered and everyone's freaking out about all the volatility that you're seeing over in the Korean market. It is what it is. Like it's a couple of symbols, and when you got these so much leverage being used and they're flying around, this is what can happen. But it's like it didn't do anything over here. When we pull up our charts, like we're trading almost exactly where we were for most of the day here for SK Hynix, and it was like it's a huge growth, but they did miss expectations. And when everyone seems to be not pricing in, or there's some expectation that hey, we're seeing the top end of these numbers for the memory chip names, that's kind of what you get. So don't be deceived by the fact it's only down 1%. Believe me, it moved a ton. And those levels, if it pops today, you want to remember that 138 was a hard top. If we tank on SKHY, like you want to see that 115 as a big bottom. But yeah, it's a busy one. Bloom Energy, hey, good cue for them. Like to see them bounce off that 200 period, which it seems like they're doing.
An interesting name to me today is Vertiv Holdings, of course, the cooling systems and, everything built in. Like you can't have these data centers if you don't have cooling. And I was really surprised. I mean, I'm looking at their numbers here. They missed, so the revenue is 3.3, they missed 3.38. So they missed by a couple $100,000 there, I guess $1 million actually. But 3.3 billion versus 3.38 billion. Should be something there. And then their EPS grew, their inline estimates. So I think this name, again, at that 200 period moving average, I'm not in this name. It's down here, Vertiv. I think it's one of the best names to look at today as potential dip buy. 36% down now, with a third of that happening today. So Vertiv Holdings down here, I like the space. Today we get Qualcomm, we get a lot of other names that are going to be, like Neil said, representing the memory space and the compute and all this kind of stuff, data centers. I'm just looking through it. We finally get in a little bit of a relief rally, and we're going to parse through all the numbers too, but we have Bloom Energy. Was finally saved a little bit here. That's been on just a straight line down. Good levels at 160 was bought up, now 182. So that's a nice little save here for Bloom. But, the important thing today, I think, because earnings are through, right, is that this is still really spicy. Like 65-35. Like we're getting, that's, like we said yesterday, it was pretty much a coin flip. I thought it would tighten up to the, the no side a little bit more today. But if anything, it's a pretty, loose change here today to see what winds up happening. I mean, there is a chance that raise happens. You got to join us here today at 2 p.m. Like, don't be anywhere else. We're going to be covering this, and we'll have to wait to see. It's been a while since we've seen anything, like a mix in, potential movement today on the number. NASDAQ 0.15, ES 0.12 right now. So the S&P 500 is definitely going to be watching out for this number. I mean, well close to its highs right now. Could easily take that out today. I don't think a hold does too much to the market. I think a rate increase, probably sends this market reeling just a bit. I mean, we had seen the numbers, the CPI and the PPI and all that, all the inflation numbers create like a little bit of an upside in the market, and then the market opens up and we fade that anyways. So we've gotten cooler than expected inflation numbers, and the markets have sort of sold those off. So now what does the market do if this interest rate gets raised? I think it's going to be a big problem, and that's why you want to look at names like if they do raise. I think a name like Walmart could get hit back to the downside a little bit here. Some of the consumer names, right? You even mentioned yesterday the IWM and things like that. So maybe short that if there was a raise.
If they were to, which I still don't think they do, even though. That 35%, it did get lower at one point in the afternoon. It was in the 20s, so that's crept back up. And maybe the overnight 5% in oil that we got overnight might have something to do with that, to be sure. But the other thing is, even if the Fed doesn't come out with a raise, like there's other levers that they can pull for tightening, right? Like they can contract. They could contract the balance sheet, that's for sure. And I think that's the kind of thing where when Warsh gets on the podium and when maybe we'll see in the statement, but more likely when he's on the podium doing the Q&A, that's something that will likely get hinted at. So I think that's, even if they don't make that change, I would look for, especially if they don't, do a raise, you could still see like a secondary move after some comments, which might lead to some tightening or speculation to some tightening. Because USO up another 5 points. Like we get some more strikes overnight, and unfortunately, you know, this might not be over with. I know some of the traders in there that I just saw someone put in battle $BATL. So, you know, if you're trading small cap energy names, maybe that's going to be a fun one for you. But the fact that we were pulling right back, everything looked like you were, hey, made a lower high, oil prices come back in here, things settle down, and overnight we gap and we look like we're a little bit higher. Actually, I haven't looked at battle this morning. Is that
it was going higher, yeah.
Is it?
Wow.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's going a little bit higher. What's the Sky Q was the other one. Sky Quarry was more of like a refiner. They do like refined products. Ooh, that's right. Okay, so one of my charts is gone, but that's fine. Keep it on the 15. Yeah, 17%. So that one's going as well. So small cappers in the energy space look like they could be a bit of a play today. Just keep an eye. USO is headed back in toward that high. Any other ones you're looking at there, Sharif?
Neil, NCRA just broke out as we speak, up 97%, ripping through $3, about a 3 1/3 high right now. Watch out for this one, topping till candle here on the previous candle. I'm talking about the 805 candle. I'd like to see a move and a hold above 3. NCRA just broke out, good volume to start. You have also AMIX. This one broke out in the aftermarket right at the end of the trading day yesterday. You're getting some higher lows on this one. So even though when you consolidate the chart from yesterday's price action to this morning, those higher lows are still intact. And last but not least, one that we all have been watching for a period of days now, DFNS back today, up 43.5%, making yet another high today relative to yesterday's high. It looks like we capped out at about $36 this morning, Adair. We got to about 42.5. So those are the three I'm watching for now.
And then AMIX actually on our watch list. They have a 500,000 share float. So check that out for more info. Now, speaking of breakouts, USO actually looks like it could be trying, as much as, you know, technicals might not mean that much for this, to break out of that 127 level. After a couple days of pauses for these strikes, we do have, unfortunately, more strikes happening. This time, Iran striking some areas here that are sacred to the U.S.
Yeah, all of the missiles were intercepted by the Jordanian air defense systems. None of them landed. They were all aimed at Muwaffa, Salty Air Base. So that was the move by the Iranians. Of course, it wasn't not met without retaliation. In fact, it was a joint retaliatory response by Saudi Arabia and the United States, who invoked Article 51, Saudi Arabia, that is, of the UN Charter, which is essentially the self-defense provision. But the thing is, they didn't hit Iran. They went into Iraq. So this is expanding the conflict. Problem is, Iran, of course, has proxies in Iraq, as they have for decades now. So yeah, by conducting these kinetic kind of strikes in eastern Iraq, the U.S.-Saudi coalition is kind of forcing a possible political crisis for the Iraqi central government, who's kind of caught in between both. So we saw, you know, the conflict expand a little bit into the Caspian Sea with the Ukrainians hitting the Iranians. There, now we're starting to see the Iraqis possibly get pulled in here, as they have obviously a cultural overlap with the Iranians. Last but not least, it looks like coinciding with the missile barrages, Iranian officials yesterday, I think we reported this to you guys, that they rejected essentially a joint diplomatic proposal mediated by Oman for, I guess, a collaborative regional management of the Strait. They're insisting that only them and the Omanis be able to control the Strait. I'm sure, you know, other people have other opinions about that.
Yeah, certainly keep an eye here on USO today, in addition to all of the earnings and everything else that's going on. So I want to mention Amphenol, APH, because I'm seeing a couple of people in our chat ask about it. This team reported earnings at 8 a.m., so the report's only been out for about 14 minutes. Not a ton of volume on this, but just to go over the numbers. Adjusted earnings per share, $1.35 above estimates of $1.18. Organic sales were up 30% year over year. That was better growth than they were expecting. And their guidance here also stronger than expected for both adjusted earnings and sales for Q3 2026. Apparently, according to their CEO, they booked record orders during the quarter. So APH, for those wondering, this earnings report just came out. Here's a quick look at the numbers. How are you guys looking at oil and some maybe of the small caps that are related to that sector?
Like the usual thing that I look for is you want to get some like headlines. I see gold, silver moving. They're not. So I think it'll be more of like a look for some kind of a volume spike, a headline drive. Because if you're not looking, if you break out the top, you're probably going to get more bang for your buck trying to find the best of those small cappers, which might have a chance to squeeze. So whether that's Battle or SkyQ, or maybe there's another one out there. I thought Vivek was a power name as well, so VIVK potentially might be worth looking. Might be worth looking at. But other than that, I think a lot of times you just want to see like those crazy, like either we get like crazy trend that can revert, or just you get the normal behavior that breaks the trend. You saw that it didn't really do it on Monday. Monday was very much just a boring trend day. But there are moments, a lot of times, where you'll get like a distinct change of behavior and catch a bit of a reversal play in USO. Like that's what I'd be watching for. I wouldn't be expecting. I think it's Wednesday, so I mean 10:30. We know nothing really moves there. Inventories haven't really moved the market too much, so I don't think that's that big of a deal. But I feel like every other day you will have it in this bit of a chop on the 15, and then it just does a distinct change and gives you a couple of reversions. That would be the only way I play it, outside of trying to find one of these that would be breaking out. But like I looked over SkyQ, that's okay. Volume seems like more good than great. Anything else? And now we're breaking higher.
I was.
Oh, something else just happened?
I don't know. I don't even have. I got to turn my my volume up here for the news sites. But I was gonna say break of the pre-market high of 127. Like that's what I've. The sticky note, that's what I was writing down. And there it goes. So, yeah, I was like, why are we still sitting here right now? Now, obviously, when you're looking at, your notes and whether or not you're trading it right now, I mean, you could actually start trading oil immediately. The market is lots of volume right there, well capitalized right now. Darn it, that 127, that could have been the whole day right there. Lots of volume, good spread on this right now. There goes USO. And yeah, I have to apologize. I don't know if there must have been some sort of a story that just hit right there. And the reason we're going to go to Adair, she has it, but that was my case, was that like we haven't really heard from President Trump yet. And I guess maybe now we have. What's up, Adair?
We have indeed heard from President Trump. He apparently is on Fox News right now, and he said about Iran that he's, quote, going to let them keep talking. So oil moving higher on this. I'm sure there are more comments coming from him. That's the only one I'm seeing right now. He also said, quote, we'll be hitting Iran hard. That's very likely the reason for this extra spike in oil. So again, he's, quote, going to let Iran keep talking, and they'll also, quote, be hitting Iran hard. Apparently, these U.S. strikes will take place against Iran in response to the attacks, as we just mentioned, on U.S. targets in Jordan. So specifically saying what the attacks will be in response to, and that Iran will be, quote, getting hit hard. Back to you.
So there it is. So, I mean, it's, is it a day that ends in Y? I mean, if so, then, yeah, get ready for more attacks, it seems like. I mean, this little ceasefire thing lasted, like, maybe 3 days. Like, we were downside there. We had the weekend. And then, today it's boom. So, yeah, like, I don't feel very positive about this. Some surprise strikes, like, overnight. And I know everything was intercepted and everything, but these drones, the missiles, the amount of money that it's costing to shoot out of the sky, like $50,000 drones or whatever, is, $1 million per interceptor or something. And, Iran has apparently tons of these that they can just fire everywhere throughout the region. And it's going to be a problem.
It's so bad. There was like a,
so I don't know where this...
A rumor, unsubstantiated as far as I know, but a rumor that they were actually letting some by that weren't obviously as much danger, so that they could save munitions, because it was so
letting
expensive.
It hit somebody.
Letting it hit something if it's not going to hit anything.
Right. Let's not worry about hitting.
Yeah, if it's not going to hit anything, that matters, but we'll just let it.
I mean, is that true? It's a $1.5 trillion defense budget, says Farm Trader. Like, this is the thing when we talk about the U.S. dollar and things like that.
Oh
like,
my
it's
goodness.
just there's going to be a lot of money being spent through there, and we're still going higher right now. Oil's still going higher here. That's why you look at potential drone stocks, AVAV, the LMTs of the world, just something else, because these drones are a thing right now. LMT, of course, Lockheed Martin. another stock that's been doing quite well. I think this was at all-time highs recently. Was it this one or was it the other? Yeah, there it is. So there goes LMT. Not all-time highs, but good report there. Nice move for LMT. There's a few other defense stocks to look at. I always thought Palantir could be something, but Palantir is getting caught up in the software. So I think this is maybe just an oil name. And then there you go. Let's have a quick look at Battle. I mean, I could assume that's, when Neil last looked at it was 140. Now you're right there up to 150 as that goes boom as well. Maybe it's better to look at Battle today than it would be to look at USO. But yeah, there's another name upside, and we know that the traders love to come for BATL when the stocks are flying around SkyQ.
That's not quite as... It didn't move as much.
I traded it. Actually, I traded this at $4 not too long ago, and it's had its up and down moves. But yeah, it looks like BATL.
Battle broke the high. This one didn't.
Yeah, Battle almost looks exactly look how Battle looks right here, and then if you look at how USO looks, it's pretty much the same.
Exactly.
There's the pre-market break. There's a little bit of a pullback. There's the pre-market break on Battle. Here's a little bit of a pullback. So if you don't have access to USO, maybe it's a little too expensive, or I don't know why you wouldn't have access to it, but Battle, $1.50, something where you can put a little bit more of your capital to work, maybe more effectively for a return. But I mean, for me personally, I like trading USO, but we'll look at Battle for sure. I mean, I could put Battle on the list instead of this. I think back down into 140, 142 is actually a really good play. That's where VWAP is. That's where the 50-period moving average is. So pull back in BATL. With oil moving around is definitely something. And you do see the NASDAQ get slipped up there as well, just a little bit. Handsome man Randy got his hair buzzed yesterday, so it looks very, very good.
Sure.
All right. Hey, no samosas. Maybe it's not samosas today. Oh, shakshuka, good. That's one of my favorites. So I didn't even know what that was until they started bringing it here.
Really?
Like, I never ordered it, and now I see it on menus all the time, and I'm like, I should try this.
Yeah, I've had it at
Our last one
brunches
had
before.
peas here. I don't know if they've gone back and forth with that.
It didn't need to have peas in it. One more note on USO. If you don't have it, you can look at BNO as another opportunity, another way that you can possibly trade it. I can't imagine why you wouldn't have USO, but yeah, BNO is another option.
I don't know why.
Speaking of options,
the Bacon Man.
Randy's you guys have no option but to head over to the screen with Joe.
Yeah, no option is crazy. All right, man. Everyone has an option around here. All right, let's take a look at some of the options activity from yesterday's session, guys. We're going to kick things off here with some SpaceX. Now, we're going to be looking at this $120 strike price, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we had a nice, strong rally yesterday. We want to look for some form of continuation. And where is a potential level that we can aim for? August 4th is the report, the much anticipated earnings report. All right, guys. So let's keep an eye out on this $120 marker. At this zone, we have 10,000 contracts still open. This is going to be the largest concentration between volume and open interest throughout this week's expiration cycle. All right, guys, so we had 18,000 contracts open and closed on yesterday's session, but we're sitting on a $10 spread, so we're not going to worry about liquidity whatsoever on this name. All right, guys, so now you can see we're sitting on a 41-cent delta, and our gamma exposure, relatively cool. But one thing that we always want to keep an eye on here, ladies and gentlemen, is our at-the-money implied volatility, sitting around 113%. So this will be priced in to the options contracting. Moving forward, let's take a look at the contract itself. Right out of the gate, we open up around $1.60, guys, and then sure enough, we climb to a high of around $4.12, okay? So that's a substantial return. We're looking at 150%. Moving forward, let's take a look at another name here, Micron, guys. Where is the support level? We're going to be looking at this $800 marker, open interest at this zone sitting at 8,700 contracts, and then volume 9,500 open and closed on yesterday's session. Now, one thing that we want to keep an eye out on is the spread. This is extremely expensive, guys, all right? So about $75 here for this specific contract. Just to get in, you're going to be slightly out of the money. Now, as for your delta exposure sitting around 39 cents, your gamma, relatively cool. But once again, within the space itself, guys, considering we're on the downside equals more implied volatility, 128% there. Now, moving forward, let's take a look at this specific put contract. Underlying goes down, put contract goes up, okay? So long put, that is. So what we have here, guys, is an open of around $22.63, and then it does peak around $43.86, giving you a 93% return within that contract. But one thing that we also want to keep an eye out on, nearer dated expiration cycle, what's going to happen is that the decay, even though we didn't have a strong rebound, the decay within the contract intraday cuts this in more than in half. All right, guys, let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Thank you there, Joe. Looking at that Micron, like it's got to be at least a little bit of a surprise that after, like we're talking about SK Hynix overnight and didn't really expect this stock to be precisely where it was for the entirety of, not for the entirety of the day, but for the majority of yesterday. Like it was so much volatility. Obviously, at the open, a lot of things were dropping. And then when you consider the insane range SK Hynix had overnight, the fact that we are just in the middle of chop on Micron, it's a little bit hilarious, but not necessarily something that I think will stick. I think that's pretty unlikely. Worth noting, relative to Micron, DRAM is a little bit weaker. So from looking short memory, like I think this is the place to go. Of course, you get little SK Hynix action there. It triple tapped like the 48.5 to 49 area. So even if you get up to that area, I think you look for a little bit of resistance on DRAM too. We had to pay for locates. I still like my 51.5, but that's nowhere even close to be able to touch that sucker. And in case you're keeping score, this is exactly what you. The other aspect of this USO move, which by the way just made another fresh high, that isn't so good is, yeah, of course it's on Fed day. Like imagine a scenario like we get into, they don't raise rates. What are the questions going to be like if oil futures are up like 7 or 8 or close to double digits by the time that Warsh, I almost said Powell, by the time Warsh gets on the podium and they didn't raise rates? That'll make for a wild circumstance, no questions asked. But that's kind of where we're headed here. That's the other aspect of it. There's going to be some questions about this. Shout out to East Meets Westy Bestie, seen you from TikTok before. What's battle symbol? That is BATL. It's on the Amex. Yes. Well, NYSE American, formerly the old heads call it the Amex, but BATL. That is battle symbol. It's actually Battalion Oil Corporation. Yeah, so the company is, we just call it Battle for like obvious reasons. You give tickers nicknames because we have a little fun with it.
Yeah,
so
why would we ever call it Battle? Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, shout out to the viewers from TikTok and appreciate you. There's such a thing as a bad question. And I get it. There are going to be a lot of times in the trade desk. I know I do it. Everyone does it here. We're like, we'll give a stock a nickname. And it's never a bad idea to ask for clarification because like I'll call ASTS Astis sometimes. It's like, what the heck is that stock you're talking about? ASTS Space Mobile, but some traders like to call it Astis for some reason that I can't imagine why for that one. But Battle makes a ton of sense. So if you hear us say that, that's clearly what we're talking about. I call it VIVK, Vivek. It's Vivacor, whatever the heck it's called. I knew a Vivek. I went to school with a Vivek, but that's another reason. VIVK. There's another one going. I do believe. I want to say that this was also, I'm just going to look it up. It's another energy name, small capper. How small is the float? 600,000 float for this one with 30% short. So this is also an option. It looks like it's moving more than the others, 45% up. Like its last jaunt since we made that fresh high in oil futures was about 10% up. So actually more than 10%. Went 10 and about another 10 to 15% from breakout to high there. So you're getting decent bang for your buck out of these small cappers, obviously relative to USO. Like that moved 1.5%. This moved 10 to 15. Battle probably moved 8 to 12. Don't about Sky Q. So yeah, these are the ones I think you're going to get a little bit more out of for sure.
Yeah, I was just looking here. The futures, making a move down there on that oil news. You see big spikes, obviously, on President Trump's speech or talk. And it looks like we're trying to, get back to the upside right here. So remember, we still do have today at 2 p.m. We do have the interest rates. So the market could be basically just a slave to whatever comes out of the Middle East, maybe right now. This is what's moving, and or some of the names, right, that we had talked about. Anthony Noto must be shooting himself in the face right now. I mean, that was a nice downside play there on a 16 break. So I think the SoFi call is on right now, and we're starting to get hit. pretty nice right there. Joe is definitely the man out here. He's sitting, he's getting ready to go with his upgrades
I
and downgrades.
see what's over there.
And also says, what, Adaman, says, what's up to Dare? I guess there he goes right there. Yeah. The bro show in full effect early here. Also, we do have what's up to, I don't know if that's just, I think
it's supposed to be Adara.
I think it's supposed to be Adara, but I just want to see, with the money sign there. I just wanted to see, is there a stock Dara? No, there is not. So there it is. So shout out to Joe and Adara from Adaman. So attaboy, Adaman. Thank you for the, those are, is that Saudi Arabia? AED. I think it's something.
It's a UAE.
UAE. Okay, good. I was going to say, I knew it was something around that. So, there we go, man. Thank you to everybody for all the love and the support, right? We're going to keep on going with today's show. It's 8:30. We do have a plan to have Luis Barbato. I don't see him coming on here, but he should be on here today. Talking about some small cap names as well coming through. So, DARA is not a small cap stock, but we want to say thank you to everything over there. So, let's go back. We should have Luis pretty soon, I think, right, guys?
It's on the calendar, and I have some small caps that I wrote down to talk to him about. So whenever he's here, we're certainly ready to greet him. And thank you very much to Adaman for the super chat and for supporting the show. Let's talk here about GFS. Certainly not a small cap. This name has given up pretty much all of its move to the upside, but it did have an announcement here with a U.S. government, specifically Commerce Department tie-up. Good luck for GFS.
$300 million letter of intent, Adara, with the U.S. Department of Commerce to accelerate silicon photonics R&D. And I'm sure you will not be surprised to learn that the U.S. government's taken a stake. Of course they have in GFS, not as much as Intel. Of course, we're talking about 1% this time, 10% in Intel. But look, the $300 million here is specifically for two different things. You got co-packaged optics, CPOs, and near-packaged optics. And the purpose here is to replace copper. So they're looking at doing this through optics, as we've been talking about a lot lately, at the expense of copper. It's going to be, apparently, if you believe some of the reports, a 5-fold increase in energy efficiency, and it's going to reach about 400 gigabytes per second in data transfer rates. So very advanced. And then it's a who's who of support that came out in support of this deal here. You got the likes of NVIDIA, AMD, Broadcom, Cisco, Marvell, Qualcomm, Meta, Corning, Lumentum, and Microsoft, all signaling that hyperscalers, as well as the fabless chip makers, they're actively aligning behind Global Foundries here as their primary domestic foundry for co-packaged optics. Gave back the entire move, but I think, from just a cyclical perspective, this is quite good.
GFS certainly in focus now. I think going forward, even as Sharif said, with this deal in mind, are you guys looking at Global Foundries?
Well, I don't think anybody day trades Global Foundries, because even when they have a story, the volume is so incredibly low. The spread is pretty big. But look at the weekly chart. It's a pretty gross looking pullback that you have on the weekly, and the monthly just makes it look even worse. Like, this is probably one of the only. It's the worst IPO breakout that I can remember, where you have the typical early IPO top, you trend down, and when you finally break it out, that's the movie. You get $80 to $92, and then this nonsense. So timing's part of it, right? So it did its breakout like right in the midst of the run-up where everything AI was going absolutely nuts. So unfortunately, this breakup probably got screwed with that kind of an action, but at least it's at the spot. Like, where it broke out, it's at the spot at 48, and this is the 200 period on the weekly chart as well. So if it holds that, I guess it would be a little bit interesting. But if you're, let's say you already like an Intel, adding this one, people want more exposure. I don't know. Let it put in a green week bouncing here. Like, give it that 3-day rule to prove that it's not just still cascading down. As I said, that's pretty nasty. In terms of a pullback, to give up the entirety of the move. And if you look at how this stock has traded, show me one time in this chart, on a weekly chart, where it bounced and you needed to actually be sitting on the bid, guessing where it was going to. Not once. You didn't have to guess here, because in the second week when it holds, you can still get a good price. You're still getting a good. Every single time it bounces, either it's holding, bottom tail, get a chance. You don't need to be sitting on the bids of these things. Nasty.
Here's one that you may not want to be sitting on the bid of either. CRWV right here is about to, insert pun here, but it's weaving its way into, I guess, basically its IPO price. It came out at $40. Yeah, like, you know, we know that we saw Microsoft. I mean, everybody's selling their compute right now, which, you know, leaves a place like CRWV, you know, sort of caught saying, what about me? And yeah, they're looking to break right now. And I was thinking about adding this to the list. That's 64 and a quarter right there, breaking down on CRWV. So this is a very, very interesting CRWV. Let me just have a quick look at this. 13 days, August the 11th. Coming through right now. I see Luis Barbado ready to rock and roll with us pretty soon. No PE, of course, for CRWV, as they don't make any money. But yeah, only down 0.45. Like that we held yesterday. Like that's the low right there, 64.5 that I'm talking about. So we hold that yesterday. I know it needs a little bit of work to get back into that level, but I think if we do somehow breach that, I mean, yesterday we opened the day at 70, give or take. You know, we make that move down $5. So it wouldn't take $5 to break that today. You know, you only need $3, and then we break it, and then, you know, as we're showing you on the chart there, let me check out what its friend Nebius is doing quickly. Nebius better, a little bit more of a moat around them, you know, deals with Microsoft, deals with the EU and things like that for compute as well. But that's a 300 down to 170, and that's not doing very good. All right, we do have Luis coming, and just on that note, here's another one. Maybe you want to talk to him about VRRM right now, Luis. This is a name that some of the traders in the chat are looking at, and this one's vrooming up to the upside, but it's Vera Mobility Corp right there, up 28% and trying to go again. You don't want to be long at $13 right there because that happened, but long at 4 might be good.
That's disgusting.
There for VRRM, but yeah, another beat up name that, you know, what were they even doing in the first place? Like, what's Vera Mobility doing? I have no idea what that business is, but that don't need to. Down there at $4, really good base, obviously. And the reason why we bring this up is obviously you guys in the chat had just mentioned it, or else I wouldn't notice it. But there's the break, Luis and Adair and Sharif and everything, right there at $5, $5.20. Right, so it breaks the high from June there, and then we start to go to the upside. So I'm interested to see what Luis thinks about this one. It's above VWAP. It's starting to go. It seems like it's pretty stable. Maybe there's some room to run on VRRM there, Vera Mobility. But I'm not the one to ask about that. We have Luis coming right now. So let's go back over to the desk and see what this segment's all about.
We're going to talk to Luis here in just a second. I quickly want to mention a headline that I think is going to have some implications later. Keep an eye on United Airlines, not moving at all here, but I'm seeing some reports suggesting that U.S. President Trump and UAL CEO Scott Kirby are going to be unveiling a $22 billion plan to expand and improve the Washington Dulles Airport. Now, this is significant because we already know that President Trump is set to appear alongside U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy at 3 p.m. Now, transportation, this airport announcement could absolutely come up. So keep an eye on UAL and the market at 3 p.m. when Trump makes that speech. But keep an eye right now here on us over here at Trader TV, because we have with us a very special recurring guest, Luis Barbado, friend of the show from over at Day Trading in lovely Barcelona, Spain. Good morning, Luis. How are you doing and how's the weather?
Good morning, Laura. We have very, very good weather here, actually. Very, very hot. It's like 35, 37 degrees, something like that.
That sounds absolutely lovely. Enjoy. I want to talk
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Oh, it's too hot. Okay.
It is too hot, and the humidity here in the city is crazy. So we need some holidays.
The grass is always greener, I suppose. Let's take a look here at VRRM. I know this was one that right before you came on, Sean was mentioning. Did you trade this at all? It looks like it already kind of had a big pop and gave it back a bit. Are you watching this name or have you traded it already?
Well, you know, when you start looking for stocks, you have to find like some red flags for the things you don't like and for the things you like, since mainly we trade short, like 75% of the trades we do short. When you look at this stock, you really don't like to short it because, you know, you have like very far the resistance. So if you're shorting here, breaking these new highs around $5, as Son mentioned, you are not very safe trading short this one because the resistance is around $12, something like that. That's the first one. So it's better to go long. When you look at some info, some fundamentals, you see 97% institutional ownership. That's something we really don't like, you know, because the type of movement when we have high institutional ownership is different. It is more trending one side, no noise. It's like a little bit more heavy tape when you are looking into the tape reading. So it's not something that we really like. If it's above like 30-40% institutional ownership, that means most of the company, it is in the hands of big institutions. So it's not something we really like. So some things that we don't like about this stock. It's not a very small cap. Look, 2 billion market cap, so it's kind of a big cap. So it's not something we will short, definitely. We might have a nice long here if this one, but when you look at the chart and the level 2, it's very thin. We have only 900,000 shares traded, but it seems that most of them has been trading in some block prints, like huge trade, and there is no, this fluent and liquid level 2 so far on this stock.
I want to ask about another name here that's actually on our watch list this morning. It was mentioned by Sharif as well, and I think by some people in our chat, AMIX. This is Autonomics Medical. They actually had a filing last night, just to get into the catalyst briefly here, registering just over 850,000 shares for resale related to warrants. And you've got here a 500,000 share float, pretty small float. Have you traded this? What would your thoughts be? How would you approach this AMIX? It's actually been pretty tame so far this morning.
Yeah, that's a stock that we would love to trade. It is true. I'm going to check now. The locates are $17 per 100 shares, so 17 cents. You have to make 17 cents to scratch the trade. So it's a little bit expensive when you look at the price of the locates for a type of movement we are looking for. But absolutely, it's a nice short. We're trading against resistance, which was support here. We're trading against that resistance. And when you look at 1 minute, look, it failed on the 520, so you have a very nice places to get out of the trade if you are short and you don't like it. We have a fail highs trading below VWAP, so actually it's a pretty nice trade. If I could short with a decent price of locates, I will wait for a pop to VWAP 450, 460s for the first in. You could add until 470, 480s, and that would be like the maximum size, the pyramid of the position, and get out if it breaks 5 and we see some volume. Look, if it's trading after the open above VWAP and fighting pre-market highs, it might be a long. So far, it looks like a short, but if we fight these levels, we might change our bias to long the trade if it trades about $5.
So I want to ask you, what other tickers are you looking at either right now, or do you have any trades from the last couple of days you want to share?
Well, pre-market, we have this one, VIVK. It's a nice stock. We were trying to long this one on the VWAP, on this retracement to the VWAP, and long again here. Look, mostly we do short, but this stock is trading above VWAP. So we were looking for this pullback to go long and breaking pre-market highs. Same again now. We're a little bit short here because we have a kind of a resistance around $3 there, you see. So we shorted a little bit here against this $3 resistance. But it seems it's going to pull back again to the VWAP, and the opening bell is going to be the key for this stock. If we see an opening bell without volume and failing VWAP, we will definitely go short on this one. And if we see some volume coming in right out the gates and trying to go against to the pre-market highs, it might be a nice stock to trade long. Look, when you see this one, you have to go a little bit further, see, and if you go to the left side of the chart, you have a lot of movement like this one from $6 to $9, this one from $5 to $10, and look at this one from $150, $170 to $9. So it has, like, I like to call it criminal record for a short bias trader. So be careful if the volume popping and again and it's trying to fight pre-market highs. Net resistance is 4 and above 4. It's clean sky. So, with tight stop, because also we are in a runner cycle. This is very important when you trade a small cap to identify what kind of market are we in for the week, for the month. And for the last week, we are in a running cycle. So if you are short, be very careful with tight stops and hard stop if it breaks pre-market highs, VWAPs, or whatever your important levels are. Because we have some crazy movement, like I think it was a couple of days ago, a stock, look at that, from $1 to $4, it halted and it opened up in $9. So you can blow up your account on this one. We have another one just yesterday. I think it was TKH. Oh, I think it was this one. Yeah, look at that. From 150, it moved up to 290, halt, $4, halt, $6. So if you are short, you cannot short this front side in this running cycle. We only need one of these crazy to ignite the whole market, and all the long buyers and all the long algorithms are looking for this one. So if you're short, look for shorts when you have a safety net to get out. Okay, don't short front side on this one because it can halt up. It can be a T12. It can open a month later in $100. So always when you are short in a runner cycle, as like we are for the last week, be very careful and have very hard stops.
Thank you for going over all of that for us, Luis Barbado. Where can the people find you if they want to learn more?
They can find it on X, A-Day Trading, and of course they can email us on info@A-Day Trading. We have our website. It's a little bit under construction, but we are developing it for the course that we are doing in English next month. So they can check the website as well, adaytrading.com.
Well, congrats on the course, and you guys can all find Luis Barbado on our show at 1 p.m. today with the Midday Boys, Joe and Sharif. So definitely check that out. He's also often in our chat as A-Day Trading. So thanks again, Luis. We'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, Adar.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades, guys. At the top of our list, we have Caterpillar. We're negative 3.75% here, but going from an outperform to a neutral weight and a $900 price target, that is down from $1,200. The analyst stating that growing concerns with this data center build out going to raise costs as there is pushback at the state and local levels. All right, guys, so that may delay development approval and add a couple more hurdles. Moving forward, let's take a look at Gemini Space Station. We're down 3.73% as well, too, going from a sell to a neutral, but with a $4 price target here, guys. That is down from $4.75. Goldman Sachs giving them that downgrade, but the firm also stating challenging path to profitability and a much smaller install base compared to some of its competitors. So those are the reasons for this analyst actions downgrade this morning, all right? Moving forward, let's take a look at Coca-Cola reporting yesterday, guys. Slightly positive this morning, but with a neutral weight rating, Citigroup giving them the nod, $86 price target. Sorry, guys, that's supposed to be KO on the bottom of the ticker. Citigroup giving them the nod, $86. That is up from $82. But the analyst increasing its price target due to organic revenue growth and outpaced consensus estimates. Strong concentrate sales and unit per case volume up 4% and 5% respectively. Moving forward, guys, let's take a look at UPS. Goldman Sachs giving them the buy rating, but also increasing their price target to $132. That is up from $128. We're up about a third of a percent. Strong revenue, but also revenue per piece outpacing the cost per piece. That is the reason for the upgrade, giving a boost to the company's margins. All right, guys, so that is our analyst actions. We have one more on the list, and that is going to be Boeing with a $290 price target, guys. That is up from $270. JP Morgan giving them the nod, but also stating the company's recovery is proceeding with few model changes. They are on the path to success, states JP Morgan. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
How about we give an upgrade to the upgrades and downgrades segment right there?
Yeah,
I love the
that's a good
visuals there,
Good
Joe.
visual.
I mean, I didn't love the fact that it had to start with a downgrade on Caterpillar, but be that as it may, fantastic information as always. And you don't want to see that. Come on, I don't want to see that. But I want to thank. Oh, there we go. A little delay on the super chat showing there. Let's thank Gabby there. Gabby Frigo for the super chat. Argentinian peso. Sorry about the World Cup. Good battle there. Hi, guys. I love the show. Big fan.
Not really a good battle.
Well, good battle in the tournament.
It was a good tournament.
They put some fight in the last 10 minutes, for what it's worth. Once they actually were down, Argentina
tried to one man.
Tried to score, but they were down a man. So, what am I expecting from Bitcoin? And then Sean, I want you to check IOND. It's an American Bitcoin miner. Yesterday had its IPO. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't look at that one, but certainly
ION.
Yeah, I didn't see that one yesterday. But so good look there. But as far as IBIT goes, here, look at the daily chart. I mean, Bitcoin's still right around that 64,000 level, but on the daily, it is riding the 50 period here. But still, when I zoom it out or zoom it back in and go to the 15, I kind of like the last time it bounced off this level, you had a couple of days of long. You know, it was a long that day, and then it was continuation for, I mean, effectively like 1.5 more days. So I'm looking for some continuation today. Like the prior high kind of lines up with this close, 36.25. So I want to go dip and rip. The issue you get with Bitcoin today would be, well, it's a Fed day. So anything you're looking for in the morning or the patterns, that kind of goes out the window the closer you get to 2 o'clock. So it's very much more of an early morning thing here for IBIT for me. Yeah, but that prior high when we closed, just looking at the last time we got a bit of a jaunt off of this price, you know, the next day, what did it do? It dipped, challenged those highs, and then was able to rally. So I'm looking for that kind of a pattern at the same price area.
All right, everybody, I keep seeing it in the chat. It's the right reads, it's the right setups, but of course, it's the wrong size. Here's the truth. You've got the skills, but your account is just too small. Trade Funder changed that. 100K for stocks, 25K for options today, and you get to keep 80%. Paid out every Friday. Never risk your own money. $99 to start, refunded on your first qualifying payout. So you're getting that money back. You can start it in just 1 hour. There's no evaluation. There's no background checks. It's just you and the size that you've been missing. This is a strange read here. Scan the code on your screen, tradefunder.com. Choose stocks or options. I think that's a perfect example right there. There's so many traders that are looking to get that leg up, right? Make sure you do scan that. Trade Funder right there. Great opportunity, less than an hour, 80% every Friday, get that payout. We always see online there's companies out there that, I didn't get my money, or I got to wait for this long, this and that, right? Definitely get paid every week, man. Make it a paycheck. Get it from Trade Funder right there. 80% payout, that's a monster.
It's a good percentage.
Number right there. And they're also going to refund your first $99 there. So I think, your first payout, you get that money back. No point in not taking the shot there. So make sure you do scan
that QR code
right there and get going on that one. 6 red days in a row for the Qs. Is that right? Oh, right on here, this IOND. We will look at that. We had a question about IOND. So immediately I start to look it up, and this was a great move yesterday. And here's what, Benzinga talks about IOND here. And if we scroll down, there's not a whole bunch of information. This is, a relatively new stock. Came out yesterday around noon hour at $50, went up to $63 right into there. There's not a whole bunch of information. So before, without deep diving right now, only 51 million in revenue. Doesn't look like it's a huge play here, but it says Iconic Digital tends to be a leading Bitcoin mining company. So, Bitcoin right now, I don't think it's a very loved, holding for many people, down to 64,000. But, I don't know enough about this business right here, but that looks to be a pretty sweet IPO, IOND right there, man, $50. Yeah, definitely seems like a small one there yesterday. It looks like that first little print there was only 150,000 shares or so to start the day. And then, huge move up to $62. So, you've got it. If you traded that yesterday, that was a great look. For me, obviously, we look at Marathon Digital, and there's a few other Bitcoin miners out there. Of course, Riot Blockchain involved as well. And, you can sort of see where these have been going over the last little while. So I don't know, IOND, without more information, unfortunately, not too much to look at, but you can always look at Riot or Marathon to be able to figure out, potentially where your IOND is going to go. We've seen, my only thing to say about recent IPOs is, if you're going to look at CBRS, and I know that these are all not.
Might have already seen the high.
Yeah.
Basically.
these are all not blockchain plays, obviously understood. But, you know, we have Cerberus here. That's been whoops. That's their best day was its birthday. SpaceX's best day was when it was 3 days old. And it had to move up there, or 2 days old, sorry. Its second day was its best day. It hasn't seen really caught a bid since then. So I just wanted to say, and there's other names too, right? But there's also names like StubHub and names that have been getting smoked. We don't have to talk about Figma. That's an old story. But, you know, out of the more recent IPOs, you just got to be careful with, you know, trying to trade them to the long side, especially on its early days, right? We had Steve Heilman on the show as well saying that he doesn't even like to really look at IPOs for a couple years, to be honest with you, as an investment anyways. But as a day trade, look, you closed there yesterday at $63. You're already down to 57. Now, I know there's not much volume here, but these prints are actually 55 right now. So you're going from 62, 63 down to 55 right now. So you've almost given half, you've given more than half back already here today. So just be careful with a huge spread. And, you know, thank you again for all of your super chats. I think we had another one.
Yeah,
I was talking.
There was another one that just came up there.
Right?
If we can, Tisha Perkins, and it would be there. It is.
Oh.
Thank you, Tisha. NCRA is another small cap you're looking at. Nocera, you got 376 as the level. Already taken that, and then 510 at Sean Neal, giving it time to set up. Leading gapper. Yeah, it's like 172%. So this is obviously doing a bit more than some of the oil names. The oil ones give you the futures to at least be able to watch and go off of. With these, it's very just much about that structure. So I mean, the 76, that's gone. Always going to be able to show you guys the daily chart. So when you zoom these suckers out, you get a sense of what their typical history is, which show me the spike that has lasted more than 1 day. Like spike, that's a single day. That's a single day. Again, to me, that looks like it's probably just a 1 day event. So most of the times it's the day it's in play, and then that's good to go. So you like the 76. It kind of already tagged $4.50, but nowhere near that 510. But this has been a habitual line stepper. I haven't really let me just double check and get the information on it. Because when you're looking at these, part of the continuation is how big is the float? Only 1.3, 40% short. So that's what they need. And this one seems to have it. So whether it's NCRA or the oil ones, given the fact that USO just made another jaunt back to the high, looks like there's a lot of small cappers with some strength. It'll be an exciting day for you there, Sharif. Maybe not those that are afraid that oil is in for another breakout. The other thing to consider with USO here in oil futures, this isn't just a break of today's high. Like that gap down is now getting threatened if we get over this 129. So yeah, it could be a wild one. What's Warsh going to say if we're 10% up? That'll be wild. I
wrote down on the sticky note battle here at 140. So hopefully we can come back in. Actually, I wrote down, the sticky note's now out. I actually wrote it down at 145 right there for BATL long. So we're getting into that area right now, but you can go have a quick look. I'll put it in the chat. But yeah, it's funny because it's not actually, as Neil just mentioned there, oil, breaks that 127 right there and is off to the races. We sort of talked about that as it was happening real time, and the volumes really picked up here, and it looks much more like a chart than it did in the first couple hours of trading here today. But yeah, it's continued its move higher here, and BATL really isn't. So this is interesting to me. I do think there's going to be some good dip buy opportunities. And look, I wrote down 145 before this happened. It was just because this is where the bunch was. So I think if you go long here, 140, 145, you do have an out. 138 doesn't seem like it's very much of a hit there. But, you take a couple thousand shares or whatever on a dollar stock, and you don't want to lose too much more than 10 cents on anything there. So got to be careful with BATL here early this morning. All right, here we go. You got RDGT for a swing trade. Around $9,000 in it. Okay, so nice amount of cash that you put in. Please advise what can be done as of right now. Oh, does this mean it's against you, RDGT? Like I said, it's always easy. Okay, it's not against you that much. It's always easy to manage your positions when it's in the money. The problem is when it's lost it. I would say you might have to get out now. And the only reason I'm saying that is, and again, this is not financial advice. Like, the $9,000 means something different to me than to Neil, than to you, than to, everybody is different in what that kind of thing means. I would say, with this name, like, what if today opens up and it's horrendous and you lose this 90, then, that next level is 70, like a 90 loss. like that's right here. Like what is this price? That's 92. And if we sort of ramp it down a little bit, 85 or so, like that's sort of where we've been at. I don't like the look of that, man, because that's 70. So once we lose everything here, and I don't know what this stock is, and
It's a Chinese health company.
Chinese health company.
Yeah, it pays.
Then you should be on. This should be you then if you're trying to get out. Like I don't like it. The spread is obviously too wide. There's really no shares here. You have $9,000 in it. It's under $1, so you have roughly 9,000 shares. You got to be careful. It's only done 77,000 shares so far here this morning. But yeah, I don't know. As far as giving you some advice there, you can either wait, I would say, until it breaks 87, 85, and get out and cut your losses. That's really the only thing to do. I mean, if it rips back up, taking profits is easy. It's the downside that you're worried about. Look, if you have $9,000 into something, and even if it's a lot of money, if you lose 20% of that, you're still living for another day. You can get in to something else and put that $7,000 to work or whatever it happens to be that you have left into something else. My, always advice would be, I don't know when you bought it, but you always got to be careful of these breaks. It's very risky to buy something at, $1.12 when it already broke under $1.20. Like that was the area right there, that it broke through. So yeah, Chinese healthcare, not sure how hot that sector is these days, but you might not be able to get this one back. We'll wait, and I say good luck to you guys. That's in RDGT. So, all right, it's 9 o'clock, man. It's rundown time right now. So let's go back over to the desk. We'll find out more about what's been kicking out today, and I think we have a good, strong idea of what it's going to be. There's a lot of
watch list today.
Yeah, there's a lot of earnings. It's a huge watch list. There's a lot of small cap movers, and oil, of course, always talked about. So let's go back to the desk. It's Adara and Sharif with our rundown.
740 and 4/5, guys, is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. We're a little bit below that right now, but most notably, we're still at that 740 area, and we continue to defend 740 despite, wicking below it at times. Most of the closing prints, save and except for one, has been above 740, so we'll continue to use that area of support. But I want to draw your attention, guys, to these lower highs that we've been putting in. So ever since getting into that 755 area back on the 14th of July, it has been lower high, lower high, lower high. All the while, we're still holding that 740 area. So not saying flat bottom break is coming, but definitely something to look out for. 745, Adara, as resistance.
Accidentally pressed this button too earlier. Now, though, it's time to look at our rundown and our watch list. As Neil and Sean said, very deep watch list. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get to every story, but you can see every earnings name on watch. You can see everything that's going to be reporting potentially after the bell. That's of note. You can take a look at what we're expecting from the Fed. All of that's going to be in that free, FREE free Trader TV rundown. Now, let's kick it off here with a name that isn't moving too much now, but certainly did immediately after its earnings report. That's SK Hynix. This is SK Hynix first report since it added its U.S. listing here, which went public July 10th of 2026. Interesting look here for SK Hynix. This was not as strong a report as maybe some people thought it would be.
It was good, but there are some issues, especially going into the future. So let's get to them. 257% year-over-year surge in revenue. I mean, most of us were expecting that given the demand for RAM. Record-breaking profit margins, about 76%. And the revenue, guys, eye-watering, 79.3 trillion Korean won. Look, they revealed a number of LTAs, long-term agreements. This is both good and bad. Let me make my case. Good because you're able to project future revenue. You're able to lock in that revenue. It's bad because if RAM prices continue to go up, you're going to look like a schmuck who actually settled for a lot less. And they've got 10 contracts with 10 major hyperscalers, according to the company. We're also kind of moving beyond the one-trick pony of HBM, and they're actually getting into a lot more. They're getting into Solidigm, I think is how you say it. It's basically SSDs, and you're using these a lot more in data centers, essentially storage. That tripled year over year. And their gross margins are a little bit higher, actually, than their HBM. So good look there. But CapEx been rearing its ugly head as an area of concern for a lot of these hyperscalers, and SK Hynix no different. They raised their 2026 full-year CapEx to about $27 billion. That's about 40 trillion Korean yuans. and they're going to build out 2 different packaging facilities. They're going to require that kind of money. Advanced nodes, let's talk about the fact that they're moving beyond, just some of the drag that they had with DRAM, and they're actually going to get to the next generation of DRAM, which is going to have a higher price and therefore a little bit higher margins. Last but not least, Adara, supported by record profits. They have a ridiculous amount of cash, 69.4 trillion South Korean wons, and that drops their debt to equity ratio to just 7%.
SKHY, pretty range bound this morning. How are you guys looking to play this?
Well, I have DRAM on the radar, and for the rest of chips, probably just SMCI again. But it is worth looking because it's so range bound. You have to see what was going on overnight with this stock, and then you'll see some pretty much I want to say obvious levels where it had some resistance. It opened up and then failed at about 132 in here. So top side 32.33 is resistance. If it sees 114, that was the overnight bottom. So when you see all this range bound action that we're talking about, understand that it had a wide one. So there's your 32, which coincides with our 6 a.m. pre-market high. I think that gives us an area to fade. I paid for locates on DRAM. A couple of reasons. I mean, like the ETF, love the way it was trading recently. It was a good short yesterday at around the same price as at about 48. But if you pop, we had a triple top here at that 48.5. So that's right around effectively where SK Hynix would likely hit that 132 level. So a triple top gives you some cover over here on DRAM. And I'm just going to throw this one in because why not? It's chip related. The thing that you have to realize, the thing with SK Hynix, it was, in some ways, there was some goodness because it was able to reaffirm demand for the group in a total. But with everybody seemingly looking for the top, like missing analyst estimates, despite the fact that it was gigantic growth, like that's the kind of thing that I think gives a little bit of hesitation. Like any Fed day, by the way, like levels matter up until 2 o'clock. Levels don't matter as much after it. That's going to go for just about everything. But one of the reasons I'm looking at SMCI might be like absurdly obvious. Like this stock, it was a good short off the open. I bungled it because I reversed into an accidental long yesterday. But this 28.6 bottom, like look at how it held in the afternoon. So it's showing you like 28.65 as a top, and if it gets through 28.9, which is this wick high, sure, there's breakout potential for sure. But man, like that was all kinds of resistance that if it gets into that price, got to take a shot on SMCI 28.6.
All right, thank you, Ozan, in the chat reminding us. Thank you, Rob. Amazing, amazing, amazing.
Yes.
Again, these are the unique cups. I like this. This is a really nice one.
It's like a tapestry.
This one has like some fleur-de-lis on it over here. All right, thank you, Rob. For the coffee, that's a great one there. Yeah, good one.
It's like a Rorschach test, actually, because
you got like, what are you looking at?
yeah, it's like what am I looking
butterflies.
at?
I see butterflies.
You see butterflies?
Yeah, butterflies.
I see like an owl on this. I don't know.
Good, man. Yeah, I got some OVO. So for me here on SK Hynix, look, I mean, I think what we had talked about there makes a little bit of sense, and that is that it's not really moving as violently as potentially we thought it would. There's when the number came out. It came out pretty recent, at 6:30 our time, drops all the way down into here by the time 7 o'clock hit, you made that low. So it went from 136 into 120 and then battled back, and now we're doing what we're doing here. So I think that if you're going to look at an actual low today, maybe it would be that 120 bid. So I think that's pretty cool that it actually stops there and then bounces back up. We heard a little bit more today from South Korea about, trying to curb some of these, the overnight trade and trying to have more of a 24-hour market and get rid of some of those triple levered and all that kind of stuff, information, because SK Hynix is such a sort of stalwart there for them over in the Kospi that we wonder if it just got bought up only to get sold off here today. Like down 1% is nothing. We've seen most of these names, when you get not the perfect report, generally speaking, lately you're down like 10+%. So I do actually expect a downside play there today in SK Hynix. But the fact is it's not going down now. So, could definitely be wrong about this one. I wrote down, I only have a few ideas on here today with Fed coming through. We have oil and I have Intel written on the sticky note today too. And I it's not like it's looking that great, but this is going to be day 3 here. They reported last Thursday, 4 p.m. Thanks to Derek for that one. And, you know, now you're trying to battle back a little bit. So you had Friday's trade, right? And then you have Monday, Tuesday, and then now today, Wednesday. We'll see what winds up happening. It got hit pretty good again yesterday early, right? And so this is not something where I'm thinking, okay, we're just going to sit here and take an 86 long. But this is where we closed yesterday at 86 bucks. We got up as high as 88. Just like that, there's a top here as well. So I think a break of 88.20 probably gets going, and that's that top right there. I would rather, because we do have the Fed today, it's not really moving. There's not many of the big names that are firing off today. So I'm going to wait to see if we could be patient again. We were really patient with Google yesterday. It panned out swimmingly. And we're going to do that same thing here again today. If we can wait just a couple minutes and wait to see if what 86 does, then good to go. And maybe a real early break of 88 and change. That could be a long, and then you play that back to VWAP, give yourself about $1 and see if that wants to work. But just because today is Fed day, and like I was saying about, you know, a lot of the tech names not really moving around today like we've seen them moving around in the pre-market before, that break of the top might not go because there's just not as much interest in buying these dips, it seems like today. Like AMD yesterday, you know, they came for it at 440, that's for sure. But then it came in and closed again, you know, right where look, it's flat, right? We're closing at 450. So this is another one of those names where I don't think we're going to get as high as 466 today. So that could be a good fading area. But I always worry about the downside, especially on these names when we see a daily chart like that. So yeah, I'm going to see if we can protect Intel off earnings. Now it's over with. And then yesterday's big play for me was Google. And again, that was a day 3, 4 play, same day they reported as Intel, right? So, you know, they had their battle backs for a minute, right? We were all, I did buy the dip at 320, so it's been a good one there so far, and looking to do something similar with Intel. And you can see Google today. This might be one of the best of the bunch. The NASDAQ is flattish down right now, and look at Google. What about a top take of Google, 337? I maybe could have put that on the board as well. You know, that would be above the 200, above VWAP, and a strong name here that we can look at, because Apple, which has taken over the whole market with its $5 trillion market cap right here, is going the other way today. So money may be coming out of Apple, maybe into another strong tech name, Google. So these are the top 2 Mag 7s that are actually, and look, Apple's the only one that's anywhere near its highs. But Google's been strong, Apple's been strong there, and I would think you want to play strong names today. Just names that have been trending in the right direction. So Apple long, Google long, and then Intel just for a semi-play to see what happens at 86, because I think Intel just got hit way too much. I mean, Intel's down now 50, almost not 50%, 40 maybe percent. I think yesterday was like 37% or something, top to bottom. So I think Intel has some get up left in it. So, all right, let's go back over. Here's a name that's finally, I know shareholders breathing a little sigh of relief right there, because Bloom is back temporarily, or is it going to be for a while? Let's go find the story here, and then we'll talk about it in a quick second.
Up. It's actually holding this gap really well here after Q2 2026 earnings, massive, significant beats and strong year-over-year growth for both EPS and revenue, and most of its revenue segments actually growing as well. Not a lot of negativity in this Bloom report, Sharif. It was interesting in your
record Q2 2026 sales. You're talking about, over $1 billion in quarterly sales for the first time in the company's history. That's about 165% year-over-year pop on the quarter. They also beat on non-GAAP EPS, but there is some concern. A lot of concentration risk here in the quarter and in the half. Let's get to it. Management, they wanted to pound the table. Oh, we've got over a dozen neoclouds and hyperscalers, as customers. Fine. But where's the money coming from? Well, the money is coming from one single source. 73% of this quarter's revenue came from one unnamed source. And for all of 2026 so far, you have 65% generated from 2 sources. To me, that's something to keep an eye on. All right, beyond the headline 215% revenue spike, Bloom's historically unprofitable service segment actually grew. So, and why we're seeing this is course, because they're deploying these machines at the AI data centers, which require servicing, maintenance. That ends up being a higher margin business as well, so I do like that. And then they got a lot of debt, Adair, $2.48 billion in recourse debt. That's alongside the $113.5 million in stock-based compensation that they paid in the first 6 months of this year. Also, Oracle exercised a whole bunch of warrants, about 2.15 million common shares. That's about $324 million.
That revenue source talk, pretty interesting here for Bloom. Is there anything that's standing out about the chart for you guys today?
Yeah, well, the chart has to, because yesterday we were saying, hey, it had the chance, and it did do it, the bottoming tail holding the 200 period moving average on Bloom. So, margin growth, I think that's going to be a good sign. Obviously, as Sharif was saying, concerns about where the money is coming from. But I think, where have we not heard that? Like, that just seems to be a recurring theme, right? And ultimately, I do like the bounce off the 200 period. A simple moving average here. It's respected. It's the first time it tested it. There's a wipeout low. It will be important to hold 176.5 at the open. If it closes a 15-minute candle underneath, I don't like the long. As long as it holds this, it's now $8 above that resistance or support level. So it's way, way above it, but even a moderate dip does give you a chance to maybe jump around, just anything under that 180 level. So like the round and bottom, but it needs to hold that higher low. Decent pre-market volume, but nothing that stands out. And I want to see this one trade after the open, not used to trading it. But yeah, that 200 period was what you were looking to hold. It has. As always, given the 3-day rule, we're just talking about a bit of a day trade here because that's one that's come off rather, like 10%. That's great, but that's why we're saying, is anyone really that, if you're a shareholder here, like you're not really doing a sigh of relief because it bounced to 10% when it got cut in half.
All right, I just want to say, for some reason my daily chart's not really working over here. But 180, whenever there's a gap, we always say, play it back to VWAP. This is about right, I think, for what we expected with its report, 7 to 10%. So, it moved the top end of that. So it looks like it's going to continue to the upside after beating expectations on the move. Again, I like VWAP. I like this 180 mark. It's come back in. It's bounced off of 180 a couple times. So I would just say let the market settle down. We are starting to head a little south side here again. But you can wait for this 180, and I think patience is going to be key right there. The VWAP right now is at 179. I think you can, take this long, 181, build it into 180. And if we wind up breaking, you can easily get out of this name at 178. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then if you do come back into something yesterday, again, as Sharif mentioned there with Adara, the report was pretty good. The numbers were there, and the momentum is up. So if it does get hit early, it's probably just either profit takers or, someone that doesn't believe in it and wants to keep it going. I just think the buyers will probably be here today. It's beat its expected move. It's higher. It's through 180. It's already held this level. So I think BE is a buy on any weakness there today. And, you don't want to be long it too much past 178. So, yeah, I like Bloom Energy here today with a nice name finally catching a little bit of a bid.
Yeah, no bid for these guys next.
No.
You've got narrow growth, slight narrow beats here for EPS and sales for SoFi today, but as Neil said, they cannot catch a bid. SoFi, I believe that earnings call happened at 8, so don't worry about any earnings call headwinds here, but what is there to look at here and look out for SoFi?
Yeah, look, Adara, this is an interesting report. They were able to make a lot of cost savings here. There was also some growth. So you got $1.21 billion in revenue, beating the 1.11, so a good look. EPS barely beating, though. We're talking about 12 pennies instead of 11. But they did upgrade their full year net revenue guidance. They're looking for $4.75 to $4.85 billion in full year revenue. They were able to save about 36 basis points on some older debt because their deposits grew, so they were able to funnel that money back in, so that saves them a buck or two. Student loan origination, this is kind of what I learned about the company, this is what I associated the company with initially, because they would do a lot of higher interest student loans and give them a bit of a break there. That seems to be growing again, 170% year over year increase in student loan refinancing, $2.7 billion. Are also diversifying through fees, coming like a traditional bank over here. Fee-based revenue generation increased 39% year over year as they grew their members, and by growing their members, obviously they were able to charge more fees there.
Yeah, I was looking over some of the notes here from that earnings call that I mentioned took place at 8 to see if there's anything interesting here. One thing they did say that they're, quote, fully transitioning their SoFi Plus to a paid subscription model after enhancing benefits. Apparently, this will include 4.5% interest in SoFi Money and a 1% match in SoFi Invest. So lots of products here, apparently more transitioning. How do you guys feel about SoFi?
Yeah, we'll get to SoFi in just one quick second because I wanted to get the super chat that was, I feel like, a while ago from Adam James Abroad. It might have been several minutes ago on DFNS because the boom that just happened was probably from 35 as it just got to the high. What I want to point out for DFNS, this is like a day 3 for this runner. Midday 2 days ago, well, midday Monday, and then another run with multiple halts to the upside off the open, gave it all back, and then this is the day 3 event is sometimes the pre-market high. If it doesn't break that, it's a popular shorting strategy. I'm not saying I'm not shorting the stock, but it's a popular shorting strategy when something is a day 3 runner to fade the pre-market high fail. So yeah, good look on DFNS. 3 days in a row, this one's giving it to you. SoFi, a million times in a row, it's been a sell after their earnings, regardless. Even if it gaps up, they just seem to want to sell off. That's just how it is. And this time, it's already done it. So like when I was sitting down, I was looking at this level, like the support, and then you had here, there was a bit of a breakout in the afternoon, it was about 16.5. I'm like, okay, 16.5 fade. Well, now you're well underneath all of this stuff. So yesterday's low sits at 16, just on the fly, 16.25, 16.20 area. So I'm gonna like the fade around that price. Fade just means short. Like it's going up, you fade the move. Up until it gets to about $15, which is the support on the daily chart. So that's the direction I'm favoring. And again, it's not impossible that it doesn't see 15.50, but now more looking at the 20s, the quarter mark there, which corresponds with the prior day low. There are some good signs out of the report. It just seems to never matter, right? Like they talked about how they're growing their products more than their members, which can be a good thing. It just means they're able to sell more things to the members that they have, that's never a bad thing. It means some success, but the market doesn't seem to care with SoFi very often on day 1.
I actually think it's like, I know I'm talking up my own book here as I do own this thing. I got to talk to Mitch, man, about this because he was thinking this was going to explode to the upside. We've already talked to him about it, but now that we have earnings, we can figure out maybe where this thing may potentially be going. Yeah, like reading the report, you wouldn't have thought that it would be down 7%, but yeah, this breaking spot of $15, it's not great. And then, we do have to remember, and I saw someone in the chat said like, oh, we keep mentioning how much we like Caterpillar. Caterpillar was a $200 stock 2 years ago. It's $800 today. So although it's coming off of high levels, Caterpillar is as well, just like SoFi, we also do have to remember where these stocks have come from. And there have been, they were really beat up like down into here. And this only goes back to 2024. So this is of October levels. So we could get back into single digits again for SoFi. I mean, looking at the report, growing everything seems to be the right play, but that costs money. And with the increase in interest rates here, SoFi potentially not well. I mean, also, I think they still have that big student loan portfolio, which with increased rates, not great as well. You do have some defaults coming out of that. So I don't know, $15 there looks to be a level that you want to test long, I would think. And I think you could get into that. I know that sucks to think that, but we'll wait to see if there's any sort of a imbalance that hits for SoFi right now. We don't even have Ford on the board there. Ford doing 1.5 million shares. And that's up 6% today with a buy imbalance. So, you want to talk about something that's a little different than SoFi. And I have way more money in SoFi than I do in Ford, but that's a nice move up today for that name, up 6%. We'll see if it can continue higher. SoFi is threatening to break down and around here somewhere and get lower. Meanwhile, Ford is trying to test some of these upper boundaries. So, yeah, just right now, it's really strange because I know SoFi is not the traditional bank. Like, you're going to see a high contingency in the XLF. But, this is what sort of the sector has been doing. Sure. Meanwhile, let me see what KRE is doing. These are the regional banks. SoFi, Robinhood, they're kind of just beasts of their own right here. It's much more of a fintech play than a traditional bank, right? I mean, even the KRE, which is the regional banks, they're near all-time highs as well. So it's fintech. Is there a fintech? There has to be a fintech ETF.
I remember I had that complaint that there wasn't a good, I wanted something that would give you exposure to like the traditional banks, take out maybe some of the credit card payment names and have some of the payments in fintech blended in with some of the traditional banks in a blended ETF, and I couldn't find anything.
All right, so maybe it doesn't.
As far as a specific
got a
fintech,
nice
I
note
didn't
here.
really look for that, but we got another one here.
Yeah, I
Let's
just
throw it up.
found this. I just put it up there. You're welcome, man.
Yeah, thanks to well, first of all, that's Shuhari. So thank you very much for the super chat. Thanks for the whole team for making the show. Trading can be a lonesome game. This is genius. Hope everyone has a great trading day.
Well, we've been doing this for 6 years.
Yeah, we've been around since COVID, and today's a big one because remember, it's going to be Fed. So someone earlier was asking, well, where can I go to find live Fed action? Here, we'll be coming back on.
You don't need to worry about that.
We'll be back at like 150, 145.
We're also starting to blow up a little bit on TikTok. We want to say what's up to Apex Media here, Hangry Wife, some of our usual suspects, Hamsters, Dragos is here. I've never seen this guy before. Michael P. Deriders here. Okay, thank you for joining us finally there. And then Mac Moscow Furniture as well from TikTok. Go get your furniture at Mac Moscow Furniture.
Look out for the back rooms, though.
Depot. Yeah, watch it. Yeah. Are you a back rooms guy? Be careful with that one there. And then, Bitcoin. Oh, okay, we got to, hey, get the lawyers out. Bitcoin Trader TV is here as well. Shout out to you. DJ Vinny Amare is here from TikTok as well. And we're starting to blow. Oh, wow, there's a lot here. Landon is here. What up, Landon? The great heavy hitter. So you're not Vladimir Guerrero. Okay, so welcome here from TikTok. What's up, Bitcoin Trader? And then everybody, I don't want to forget everybody that's on YouTube. All of our best friends over there. Barton is here. It's all pipes. That's true. JM is here. Guyanese is here. Are you a guy or are you a Guyanese guy? You ever see that Drake? Did you ever see that Drake? Drake is just, not only is he top of his game, but as an actor, no, not even SNL. He's on another, I have to find that clip for you guys.
Was that SNL?
No.
Oh, he's jokes.
He's jokes. The moving company, right?
Moving company.
Yeah, I think it's something like that.
He's like, guy, I could get my guys, you could get your guys, and it was absolutely hilarious. So shout out to the one and only, man. Anyways, great to have everybody with us here again, and welcome to Trader TV Live, and thank you for all the kind words. And yeah, like Neil said, man, 9:25 now, but at 2 p.m. is when everything, all the fireworks start to happen. But you're going to see some fireworks right off the open, so don't go anywhere. Live trading at the bottom, actual stocks, physical stocks, not options or CFDs, anything like that. We're trading the actual contract, actual stocks, and then futures as well. We look at in some Forex and oil and stuff.
Very quickly before we go back, some imbalances did drop. Nothing crazy. I bid for a small sell, 500,000. Forward buy, they beat on earnings, 350,000 to the buy side. So nothing that's going to jump out, but wanted to make sure we got those. Let's get to the desk. We got oil in focus, and after the bell. It's not even just Fed. Remember, after the bell, we're going to stick around, and we got Meta and Microsoft earnings.
We're going to talk Mag 7s here because we've only got a couple minutes until the bell. But as you guys know, oil pushing higher. We got another boost in oil around probably 8:15 a.m. after President Trump said that the U.S. will, quote, be hitting Iran hard in retaliation for Iran strikes. We've gone over that. Let's talk here about Mag 7 earnings because you've got 2 after the bell today, 2 after the bell tomorrow. Tonight at 4 p.m. you get Meta at 4:10 Microsoft. Both of these should be pretty interesting reports.
Absolutely. They're Mag 7 names, Adara, and Microsoft heads into earnings with its most bearish sentiment in over a decade. The short interest here, not large, by relative standards, 1.27% of the float, or about 92 million shares. Investors concerned here about the massive CapEx AI investments, especially after Alphabet raised theirs. It's sparking concerns that, your Microsofts, your Amazon, they could follow with even larger CapEx raises. Microsoft has already guided $190 billion in CapEx for this year. If that number goes above 200, it could be a bit of a problem, Adara. Meta also reporting after the bell, after another quarter of expected record advertising results, but investors are going to be far more focused on AI spending, but I submit to you they're also going to be interested on AI monetization. In specific here with Zuck, whether or not he will entertain the option of renting out compute to your Anthropics, your other models. We'll see. He needs to generate some money here. Adara, he's spending a lot.
If you could pick one of these shapes that you think might be green tomorrow, Meta or Microsoft, just one, which one would you pick?
You know what? This is a really good one. It really depends on what's said on the call. So if we get that AI cloud monetization by Meta, I think it'll rock it up because, that's definitely a new source of income. We saw as well with SpaceX do the same thing. But Microsoft's been so beat down. And then you also have a lot of names pounding the table. Microsoft sold off. Microsoft's cheap. So I can kind of see both really depending on how the call goes.
And lately, I think the call is a really good emphasis from Sharif as well because lately, if you guys have noticed, we've got one reaction on the numbers, another on the call. So keep an eye on those earnings calls as we send you over to Sean and Neil. Good luck, everyone. Sean, Neil, Microsoft.
Well, after the bell, obviously it's going to be a big one. And I think, remember, the comparisons that are going to get made to Alphabet's quarter, specifically for Microsoft on cloud, is going to be a big one. Because you can say whatever you want about the reaction on Alphabet, but they had a great Q. Let's be real. No question about that. As far as oil futures go, they're pulling back a little bit. VIVK seems like it might be the better small cap one. And then you mentioned SpaceX there, that had nothing to do with earnings. We'll wait for theirs, and of course we'll also wait for the lockup. But it did double tag that 119. I still maintain it. If we're not breaking out 119 on this sucker, it's still holding the bottom. It's made lower lows every single day. There's been a bounce every single day as well. But if it does that same pattern with initial topping tail candle pop and fade, I'll give it one more shot. The early shorts have been the only ones that have worked recently. The late ones, not so much on SpaceX. About 30 seconds to go until this open. We did have, again, a small pullback there in US Open, not much.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking just for a couple early trades here. BATL, watch out for 140. We'll sit here, see if we can get it. That's your 200 period moving average. As we talk about some oil names, we're going to look for Intel down near, INTC down near 45, down near 86. I want to thank VinFast there for their continued sponsorship of our opening bell. Go check them out. It's ticker VFS as another EV name to take a look at VinFast. I saw a couple of VinFasts on the road actually lately, to be honest with you. So go have a look at VinFast. We also want to thank Funded Trader today as well. Trade Funder, sorry, right there on your screen. Make sure you do scan that QR code if you want to become part of the prop universe. Scan that QR code and get involved now. All right, so Intel waiting for $86. I want to give it a second. I said I wouldn't sit there and, take it. So we'll wait, see what happens now with Intel. That battle's actually not moving at all. So there's nothing going on there. What is SoFi? And I said maybe we get to that $15. You may not have liked me to say that, but here it comes into $15 is SoFi. Down 8, soon to be down 10, I would think. And then maybe we get that bounce spot there. And hopefully I'm wrong on that and there was an initial flush. I didn't actually see if SoFi had an imbalance there, but it might have, because that's 925 right there. It went from 1580 all the way down to 1540. So that could have been a washout there on the imbalance. So, be careful for that one.
Insta halt on DFNS.
Okay, insta halt. Okay.
DFNS immediately halted to the upside, breaking out its top. So third day is looking like a charm. Just hit 42.97. So probably a 5-minute halt volatility. Give it 4 minutes and that sucker will be open again. Crazy third day and it's still going here. Rushi, thoughts on? Oh, yeah, we did mention Vertiv. Vertiv missing.
Yeah, I love Vertiv. Yes. By the way, Apple's ripping.
Apple's a beast. Mixed earnings have been typically bad for most names. And Vertiv, the fact that it lost the 200 period moving average, I guess maybe a little bit surprising.
I actually want to buy some.
They're not the first name that we've seen have this big of a dip. That 200 period's been a good one if you're able to catch it. So I'm just looking over at SpaceX, just broke the low, so that's not.
Yeah, I'm going to try some SpaceX here if I can get just a small little bit.
That's what I saw the same thing.
We'll try a little bit more on SpaceX. We're going to try right here underneath $15, $115, of course. Whoa, not $15. Okay, there goes Apple. So Apple goes up. Apple's all-time high. Did we just make it there at 342? Yeah, 342.89 was its previous all-time high. We came within 60 cents of that one. Now you're starting to fade out just a little bit on Apple. But, the market, like we expected there. Remember, 2 p.m., we do have the interest rate call coming for you live here on the show. Neil and I will be back around 1:50, 1:45. That'll upset Joe because, he wants to be there. Maybe we'll have Joe and Sharif. We can maybe do a 4-box or something at that point. But there it is right there. This is what we're expecting. 65.35 right now in the Fed, rate watch tool. They're expecting a increase, 35% chance for a hike. All right. So still waiting out for this. I want to make sure that we do. If we're going to be wrong, let's be wrong on SpaceX. I don't want to just get out right now. It's a little bit too early. We only have a third of a unit right now on board. I'm looking at this 115.20 area. So I'm going to take another little shot here at 115. And then look, man, if this is our first loss, there's always, and we're about to do something actually later on. We should have a video about trading in the first 5 minutes, right? And I think that you gotta sometimes be patient before you're gonna put on a real position, like a real big size, because you really don't know where these things are going. Right now, we are tapping out near VWAP for SpaceX. So we'll see if we can get a little more short here, up near 115. And then if it breaks, then we got to let it go, right? What about a 115.50 or so break? Let's just put that stop in right now. It'll be a relatively small hit, but you'd always like to have winners rather than hits. So yeah, we're going to watch out for SpaceX right now.
But this is the pattern that worked. The only short that was good off the open was the topping tail candle at the open. So that's yesterday. I could show you 2 days ago as well, but that's immediately the first candle topping tail and close underneath. So I'm sticking with that. SoFi is an absolute dumpster fire, and it's at 15.
Yeah, well, that's what we thought.
I mean, what are you going to do? Like, it's obviously short would have been better, but 15, just go out to the daily chart. It's about as obvious a level as you're going to find on the daily, and it's the only support. So down here, going to look for a reversion on SoFi. I'm looking up to see if Bitcoin's doing anything. Nothing crazy just yet. USO did tick back toward the high, so Vivek might have done something, but SoFi is at that 15 level. And when I say Vivek, VIVK is that's dying. Yeah, maybe there's nothing here on these small cap oil ones.
No, Battle's not even moving. No, it's not even moving at all.
We're back at the highs on oil.
Battle's like not even existing.
Okay, well maybe these are just dead then. Wait for one of these to pick up above VWAP. That's disappointing.
All right, 332.99 or so will be our stop here. I actually forgot that I wrote down here, and I saw someone in the chat say to me, Sean, I got Google at 333. I forgot that we had written down. I only have 3 names on here. We didn't even talk about it. So Google's coming back in. I want to look at Google there today. I do want to look at Intel. We want to look at Battle. Battle's not moving. You'll see me get into that soon. It's at 143. But here we go, man. We're long on Google. We just took 334 there on Google. Let's give it a couple seconds to see if it can breathe a bit here. But that's a play that I'm looking at right now. Google long. We had it yesterday. It was super strong. We'll see if it can breathe a little bit more here now as we start to go to the upside in Google. So yeah, take a little bit of profit if we can now. Let's see if we get an offer.
Buy Bloom.
Yeah, I just put an 80. Bloom to the upside, hopefully?
Bye.
Okay, it's still down 10% though. What was it down before?
No, it's up 10%.
Oh, up 10%.
No, it tagged that 176, but look at the opening candle on Bloom. That's a $7 down candle, and then the reversal was equally fast. So, getting this one on the way back up, nearly impossible back through VWAP. But I think I still like it. I like the long play on Bloom, but I'm not going to chase it up at a 186. Maybe you get a 180 level. SPCX, SpaceX, it's threatening that topping tail candle that we're looking for, but it didn't break it yet. But once you get over, bye-bye. Like if it can't hold on to this 150, it's about 75, like that 3/4 mark. But if it can't hold this, then we dump it out. I did get IBIT. Let me just quickly show Bitcoin was downward trending. It broke the trend. So first look over the volume weighted average price, giving it back to about 36.3. So a bit of a tighter stop when it comes to IBIT. But that Bloom, that's a heavy reverse. Don't really trade this very often. So sometimes when you see something with a wide spread at the open, like if you're trying to get the punch, you might be crossing $2 to try to get into that.
Yeah, we be clubbing right now. There's the dollar club there on Google. I mean, again, another play. And of course, the only name that we wind up getting stopped out a little bit there at 115.50 there on SpaceX. Let's see what winds up happening now. I'm going to give it to 116. But of course, the name that we lose on is the one that we weren't even mentioning on here. And yesterday we lost only short there. And so now there we go. We're up to the 200 period moving average right now again on SpaceX, waiting to see if that breaks. But we can get some revenge on this one. It's not that we need revenge. That's the wrong word. But we could definitely trade that again and see what winds up happening. I'm going to take out one more spot here on Google, and then we'll let it ride, man. We still have 70% of that trade there as we just wait for SpaceX. We're now short in the 40s, so we need this one to come down a little bit. We'll see if we can, okay, there it is. We get a 20 fill. We'll see if it comes back just a little bit more into the teens. We'll take some fills out now on this trade as it's now 30 cents in the money for us, and we put on a little bit more shares. There it goes, breaking through 15 right now, so we play off that 200 period moving average there on SPCX. That's a nice move lower now. What am I talking about? I want to do SoFi there just to have a quick look as Neil.
It bounced 15.
Okay, it bounced 15 pretty nicely there. 15 to 15.20. We like that bounce.
Yeah, I like the bounce, but it was the timing of it. It was you don't want to. You say you don't want to rush and you want to be patient. Well, that was one where patience was not a virtue whatsoever. You just needed to see it underneath 15.10 and then jam long. was your only play. So, here comes SMCI. So we jumped that one. Basically the same setup as SPCX, where it does a topping tail under a prior resistance levels. We take it short, give the stop to just above that 28 level. But SoFi, that's one that'll haunt you because really, the bounce off 15 is pretty clean. 15.06, you could take like maybe 9s and 10s, I suppose, would have been the way to go. And if it gets to VWAP, I'm probably looking the other direction if it gets to the volume weighted average price, just to be real. So I'm not in SoFi. I don't know if we're even going to get into SoFi at any point today. I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to hold. I'm not going to sit there and try and chase that bid because that's not the direction that we were looking for originally. All right, SpaceX just came back down. SPCX came back, but that also means potentially with the market coming down that IBIT lost that gap. So first shot, IBIT, I said 36.25, but it bounced off the level and held VWAP. So when I want something to the long side, it breaks the trend and holds VWAP, I'll take that shot. But the level is down here. SMCI, I don't have any bids out. I guess I would probably need bids at the low of the day.
Yeah, that would work.
That makes logical sense. And then the obvious low on SMCI is 27.25 or so as that gets back in. Bit of a buyer on the even dollar on SpaceX.
All right, guys, we're double clubbing right now. So for that one, we get that money because there it is, man. 14 finally coming through on SpaceX as right now. There it is, 14.10. This is $1.40 now in the money, $1.50. Breaking lower, so that was a good trade there. It's too bad that we got stopped out, but it just allowed me to actually double up the position there against that 116. So, finally SpaceX doing it right there. And then there goes Google. So we're gonna go 2 for 2 today with both pretty good winners, man. Let's get some more out on Google. This is the highest this one's been. We have half left if we get that fill, which we just got there. We offered 65, or what did I get? 58s there, sorry. So we get out at some 58s. Now we'll wait to see if Google can get just a bit higher for us right now. All right, now they're both $2 in the money as this is starting to really get going right now, man. Big day alert happening pretty early right now. That's a good one. We were not expecting this kind of movement, especially on Google. Like, I had written it down here on the note. I mean, hopefully you guys are able to look at this. I'll put this here in the chat, but it's, oopsies, paste? No. Okay, we don't need that one right now. But we'll put that out there. But yeah, it's 333 there on Google was a good level. Look at that. I don't know what Google just did there. 336.50s there on the top side of that trade. But yeah, so far so good here. We'll figure it out what we're doing now. But yeah, there it goes. Google up 0.5% and starting to go. And yeah, good look over there. I know you have SpaceX as well. That was a tricky one to short yesterday, but
it just double tapped 113.5. Just a reminder. There was a second good short in the morning, and it was right here at 115, and that bottom was right here. Same place that we have a double bottom, so I want to see if we can get that out and try for a bit of a reload. Of course, man, SoFi is an absolute, I don't know, dumpster fire, piece of trash, whatever you want to call it. It bounced to 15.3. This is probably going to take out that 15. So if you like the 15 bounce, you already got it. Good luck to you if you try for anything more than that. Just because I don't want to completely give up on these. Oil, USO is bouncing off of the volume weighted average. Well, maybe not. Okay, never mind. It's bouncing above the volume weighted average price. One of my charts said it was at VWAP, but it's not. So you're holding on to some strength. So I don't want to give up on Vivek here. It's catching a bid. If this can just eke itself, like don't break 230, hold, get back above VWAP, I still think there can be some life when it comes to VIVK or possibly Battle or maybe, what was the other one? SkyQ. SkyQ would be the third. So I just jumped out of SpaceX. I'm reminding myself of yesterday where it ended up being the right move to have gotten out early and then look for another opportunity if it wants to play continuation. I'll look for reload on SMCI if it'll give it to me here at VWAP. Is that short still working? The market's kind of sideways, the NASDAQ overall. So you got to be, like, there's some things moving around. Obviously, SoFi is moving. We're finding some of the chip names were moving as well. But the broad market, not so much.
No, we also have, as you just mentioned about SpaceX, that's be a good one there. And I'm just going to wait to see what winds up happening now with Google, but I do agree with Neil there. We already talked about we're out of more than half of this trade, and when that rips right up into, and this is part of the talk that we were just having there, when this rips right up into your pre-market, it's kind of like what we'd seen there. It made some lows right into there at 334. I'd written down 333. Of course, I'm going to get another piece out here at 85 if I can, because we are falling back in. That low rate there, something to look at, just like these highs, something to look at. So that was, I couldn't believe it when it popped through there. We were doing it live on the show. You saw me take that fill. So now there it is. We just get another fill right there as we panic a bit and get out of a little bit more right there on Google, as now we're under, obviously, that 50% left. But man, we just got another fill on SpaceX right there at the low of the day. So 113.60. Here we go, SpaceX. Let's get that money back. Yeah, nice move there. Just to have a quick little look, like Battle, as we talked about, USO. I might just cancel my bid, man. Like, I don't even know if I need to be here at 140 anymore. It's just not making the runs like we thought it would.
Gracious.
That STKH, that's another small cap name that's halted again already today. This one moved there. We had Luis talk a little bit about STKH earlier as well. That DFNS has opened back up now, and that had a 44 high, now down to 34, underneath VWAP, underneath the 25 period moving average, and trying to get into the 200 period. Here's another small cap name that is just Rip City right here today. It's downside, but another name that's, been doing well. It's up 44%. Can't complain about that. Okay, this is a halter, but only 3 shares. Nothing going on there. Yeah, it's just basically STKH and the other one there, DFNS. And then, yeah, SpaceX, man. We got a good little fill down there at 1350. I think we should stop out if it takes VWAP again, 114.50. So, yeah, let's not be in anything for the whole day. We'll trade out of some SpaceX soon. We have 1/3 of our position left in SPCX.
Nice. But you know what's not nice? Lemonade.
You tell me. Lemonade. Oh, that's a tasty treat, though.
No, it's not today.
It's a tasty treat.
I love lemonade. My wife's been getting into making. We have a juicer.
Yeah, good.
Freshly made lemonade, which is unbelievable.
You can't beat fresh made any juice.
Well, that's true.
Honestly, like that's the benefit of.
I want to puke looking at this. I'm being real. Like, that's nasty.
20%.
On earnings, and this is a potential flat bottom break. It's at least holding on to the bottom here at 49. So that's about it. So you can find them on the watch list. Shout out to Adara. Incredibly busy day. No, just talking about the watch list, because like there are so many things on this particular earnings day. Then throw in the Fed, throw in what's going on with USO. There's just so much happening.
We just gotta say this.
Thank you very much, Dara.
I keep forgetting we have that. And I didn't use the other button. Anyways,
there's another Trump button over there. We got to find some more.
No,
apparently there is someone named Joe Wilson. So
Yeah, so he is a Republican congressman from South Carolina. His name is Joe Wilson. Trump has endorsed him at least twice in my memory on Truth Social recently. And there's also potential that he could, though I don't think he will at this point, run for Senate now to replace the recently departed Lindsey Graham. So we could be hearing a lot more of Joe Wilson. And if we do, I will let the right people know so we can get a soundbite.
Yeah, exactly. We want to get that soundbite right there. And then Joe the Republican over there. We'll see if Joe Wilson gets to space. Not your Joe the Republican.
Well, there's a real Joe
Wilson is over there. And yeah, we'll be getting more of Joe, and we'll get even more Joe and more of Sharif coming on the Midday, the Bro Show in full effect every day at 11 o'clock. So watch those guys out. They talk about the news, a lot of different things happening on the Midday as well. So congratulations to the success of that show. There. And of course, we'll have Sia coming on soon with us here. She joins later on around 11 o'clock. So, all right, SpaceX still making those lows. We'll see if it continues to do that. The name I wanted to look at today pretty early was Intel, but it really, I wrote down 86 near that low. So now it's 946. So we're getting into the day a little bit here. And Intel remember we talked about the breaking of that high? Well, it came into it and it did break it. But then that little candle up there, no continuation. I think whenever you get a failed break, that's when you want to sort of push the brakes and potentially get back out on the same level that you broke out on. So along there at 88, up to 88.40, now falling back in. Watch out for your 86 bid. And then here comes Google. But we've already had a couple of good outs on this name as we now hold about 30% of this trade. And maybe time to get another piece out, honestly, even if it's only going to be for 20 cents, because it looks like we're losing the bid right now. Look at the NASDAQ falling in right now. So, yeah, again, we'll have our ear to the ground. Adara's there with any news. Anything important hits, we'll get it for you live right here, right now. But we'll average in a little bit into this Google trade as it's coming into our 333 level.
Yeah, it's looking like a bit of a flush here, but I'm seeing it's not a huge spike. The market is obviously now in the red territory.
Yeah.
But here's USO. Stop me if you heard this before, making another fresh top. So we're now starting to break out. I'm going to Vivek. It's not going. which one of these, any of these small cap energy names actually running with this move up in the futures? I think they could be explosive, but they're all just dead. Battle's dead, Vivek's dead. So maybe there's just nothing there. I don't know what to tell you. So the way to go, I suppose, was just to be in USO. SMCI, let this one trend down. VWAP is holding for sure, but the next bid should be down around 27 and a third or so. And then our good friend, who's not anybody's friend for real, SoFi, it's bounced the second time off 15. This time at 15.03. So, if you can't beat them, join them. It's now held, so that 15 level is holding. Oops, I meant to bid like just underneath. I'm going to bid some 8s. If I pick it up, if it loses 15, to me that's an out. But that's about the only level to look at on SoFi if you're trying to catch a bid. The daily chart says 1490. I want to say 1490, 1491, something like that. And it's making an attempt to bounce down here. So we're going to look for a reversion. But the shorts have been ruling the day, no question about it.
Yeah, I actually had to flip it over, man. We have to take the L there a little bit. We'll flush down on Google. Look, man, I mean, SpaceX has made it back for us on Google, so it'll be a pretty flattish day there. But we did take shots at 333. We got some more in, and we talked about, getting underneath a little bit here with the shorts leading the way to the downside there. It's kind of strange. Like, we don't really want to put in too many shares here today just because of 2 p.m.'s coming. I don't know what the positioning is going to look like heading into the Fed. But, we're still short SpaceX. And now I just flipped over into the short now underneath 333. I liked 333 for Google there to hold. And it didn't really give it. I mean, I didn't give it a minute. I just kind of said, okay, we're breaking. I do like to generally reverse things into a weaker name, especially if it's going to be on the sell side of it. So we'll have to wait to see. I mean, we'd like to have some Google strength, obviously, but if it does wind up losing it, we're short right here, right now at 333. So not a bad look if we can get back in. Those lows are only 80 though right now. So let's put a bid out here. There we go. We'll catch an 80 fill, it looks like. And then hopefully we'll catch something in the 60s. And then we'll take, there we go, we get it. So now we'll see about making a little bit of that back here on Google to the sell side. And I just want to give this a little bit more room, right? If we can get up to 334 or something, then we can maybe dump it again. But let's give ourselves just a little bit of room here as the market is pretty early days. We just did get a nice little SpaceX move there, so we'll hit the sirens. Pound the sirens right now because this is now 250 in the money and getting absolutely crushed right now is SpaceX. So that was a good idea. Neil and I both had this. We're still in this. This is now $3 to the sell side. There goes SpaceX. Finally, man, we shorted it yesterday. It was my one losing name yesterday was SpaceX, but today it's the only one that I'm up on right now as we hold pending Google. But there goes SpaceX, a good fill down there at 1270 right now as we start to get lighter and lighter on SpaceX. Only a quarter of that position. Pretty mains.
There it is. Shout out to Robinson Greatness. Thank you for the super chat. How about Apple looking strong? Another day, another dump off on the Qs with a rally in Apple. It's the rotation that just keeps on rotating. It is the $5 trillion company that just keeps on growing. It is also the Mag 7 name that we're going to get earnings on. Yeah, well, we'll see. But I do feel pretty good about Apple relative to the other Mag 7. It's just the fact that they're not spending. They're just not spending, man. And if you're not spending, they like ye, and they like ye a lot for sure. We're not covering every single name. And apologies, I don't think we've really looked at DRAM and SK Hynix, so just very quickly.
Well, you can't cover everything.
Like they were rallying into the open. There's your resistance top, so fail not. I'm saying fail because that's that triple top we're talking about on DRAM. So here's SKHY. I always have to literally say SKHY so I do not type it incorrectly, and I still don't type it correctly. This is at least holding the bid a little bit. So there's a little bit of a bid forming SK Hynix, but you saw DRAM already losing it. The market is losing it. The only thing I'm left in is SMCI, and I'll get to what the heck is going on with you, IBIT. Too tight of a stop on IBIT, I think. But SMCI is now down into, we've made the break. So we lost this floor from yesterday at 11 o'clock, and we're headed down into the absolute bottom. So this is what we're looking for. I'm going to park down in the 20s, make sure we get our fill, and then move on to the next. The losing trade for me was IBIT, which is kind of ironic because I looked back. It didn't actually break the pre-market low on IBIT. It wicked like 2 cents away from it. So technically speaking, I probably shouldn't have stopped out of it because it might either like a dark pool might have wicked another penny or something like that. That's possible. But either way, it doesn't matter. SMCI is going to get to target, and then we'll work on what's next. Potentially some oil trades if we continue this trend up. I don't see USO trending up without one of those small cappers following along with it. And they can't die forever.
Where's my guy Easy Peasy right now? Because I just talked about reversing, and I know this guy makes apparently millions of dollars following these trades that I put on. But there it goes, man. We just talked about reversing this into 333, and we just got a fill down there at 332.16 is my best fill right there. So maybe I have a better one. A couple in the 20s there. No, it looks like 15s are the best. So yeah, there's the reversal back in there for Google. So there we go. We get another fill there at 30. Now we'll wait to see if we do have some more damage to the downside. Shout out to our good friend Easy Peasy there in the chat as he continues to support the channel with that. So thank you, Easy Peasy, for that. That's Google. This is SpaceX right now. SpaceX is just a small little one. Yeehaw. 250 now in the money, and we'll get it figured out here, and we'll see what winds up happening there. 1260 or so for SpaceX right now. Again, we got stopped out there. Remember I told you we only had a third of a unit or so. We put it back on. We had about 1 unit on the way back in as we realized that it defended that. And I let it make that top wick, and then we hit the short. So, and I was only shorting this against the top. So we're short here at 115.50. My stop is right now at 116. So, 50 cents worth of a shot there. Now 5-1 to the downside. That's the kind of stuff that we're going to try to do for you guys here, right? And so that's just the way I'm looking at things now. But Marvell, a lot of these names starting to get hit, right? I mean, we had sold off in our long-term accounts some AMD, average price 520. And I was not even happy about it when it happened. I was like, oh my God, what have we done there? But now that's looking pretty good just 3 days later as AMD is now down to 440. Sold this thing a while ago, and you can see it's starting to come back in, which I'm guessing that Intel, yes, there it is. So we didn't even, because we're net short everything, I didn't even get really a chance to look at this 86 level. But wow, that did not hold. And there goes Intel right now to the downside. So that 86 should have been, I guess, a short there. That's why it's tough to write down the sticky note every day because, you really don't know what the market's going to do. We're just trying to look at stocks that potentially could ride with us. And right there with the market down another 0.7, just a nasty morning with an ES down 0.5, the NASDAQ down 0.7. And it's just like, there's just downside, right? I mean, it's not great. SK Hynix actually, Neil, is doing nothing. Well, it was down slightly, I guess.
The volatility was overnight.
I just thought there might have been a little bit more here today.
It did an absolute monster range overnight, and it's just a nothing burger today. But that's okay. But that's why I don't think you saw anybody trading SK Hynix here because it needed to extend outside of the range, and then that would be more interesting. An earnings name trading exactly where it was for 75% of the prior day is not an exciting thing to trade. SoFi is going to break $15.
Oh, geez. Look at them.
I'm looking at the level. There's like 500,000 shares on the bid, and they're probably going to smoke it. So there was a bounce. That bottoming tail candle at target on SMCI gets me out near the low. We'll look for the next opportunity. I don't know if it's going to be the energy the way I would like it with USO going, but here's SoFi. This time it's not bouncing off 15. Just a quick reminder on the daily. The low here on the daily it's just underneath $15, like 14.90, 90.91, give or take a penny or so, is going to be the actual 52-week low on SoFi. So it can break 15 and still have a bit of a bid, but I mean, like I said, this has been an absolute dumpster fire. USO continues to go higher, and I just looked over, saw Vivek was trying to bounce. So this is made a low. I just want to see it hold a higher low and then take a shot at this into VWAP. It looks a little bit better. Maybe not by much. I know Battle's getting VWAP. Okay. Maybe it'll be Battle then. But Battle's it doesn't seem like it has the juice in terms of percentage move.
I'm still bidding 141. I didn't even get filled.
USO's still going up, man.
Oh, that would have been nice to get filled down there. Okay, well, wrong gateway, I guess. So by the way,
didn't really print it.
No, I noticed. Yeah, I was just down there very, very small. And I'm not sitting on anything that would have got filled on. Okay, so we did get reloaded on Google right there. I mean, we just took a 333 fill. We actually got 330. I actually punched this. So, it came up. I was like, maybe it's stopping. And I hit the short there. So we did punch into some more shares right there. I think I got 07s. I can tell you exactly what I got. Yeah, 07 there on the out. And then we bid some more out there after we got that. We bid some 77s that got filled. Then we just got filled at 60s, sorry. So was a downside play there happening for Google. I'll put another bid there at 60, and then we'll let it go and see if we can there. I'm bidding 61s. There it goes. That cashes in. That's a face slapper there. And then I don't know if I like this or not. I might wind up changing this. But there it goes to the downside now for Google as it's starting to get going there. Google, SpaceX. SpaceX still $3, and Google's there as well. The other name that I had written down was Battle. That's it. I only have written on here Intel, Battle, and Google, and then a little note about the Fed, right? Because they're going to be coming through today at 2 p.m. where we could double check and just to see. I don't think there's going to be too much change in this. There's no Fed speak. There's really no numbers that are going to influence this at all. So 64% chance that we have a rate non-movement. Hike is 35%. So the steady rate there, 65%, 35% the other way around. And then no chance, according to this anyways, no chance over here. So no chance for a cut. If there was somehow a surprise rate cut, I think the market would go crazy higher, but I don't know if that would be a good thing or not. Based on a rate cut there. All right, so SpaceX starting to feel some love over here. So I'm going to punch a little bit more out at 113 now, just because it is doing that move. We do have 20% left right now. And before we go over to Adara right here, FIEE is one of your new runners. This just halted. So FIEE, you're going to hear it here first. There's the move higher on Trader TV Live. Just broke through. FIEE right now taking out some bids. If you are this kind of a trader, go check it out. FIEE. The other name, SPRC, halted as well, upside. So a couple new names. We'll have a look at them when we get back from Madeira.
Let's take a look here at the market. S&P 500 bouncing a little bit here off lows, but we did almost, or at this point, we're actually kind of near the low of day from both yesterday and Monday. That level is going to be 736. That's going to be absolutely level to watch for the SPY. Currently trading around, heading into that 738 region. We'll take a look here at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ also pushing lower, especially that second 15-minute candle of the day, so 9:45 to 10. Now it's 10 a.m. Let's see if that third 15-minute candle proves to, provide a little bit of a bounce for the NASDAQ and the SPY. As we've talked about a lot here, guys, for the overall market, FOMC decision at 2 p.m. and that press conference from Fed Chair Kevin Warsh at 2:30 p.m. It's absolutely going to be in focus. Another market-wide thing to be aware of here is USO. USO at session highs. This is well above where we were trading yesterday, above even where we were trading on Monday. So USO stays strong. President Trump, as we know this morning in a Fox News interview, promised the U.S. will, quote, hit Iran very hard tonight in retaliation for attacks from Iran last night. Let's talk about SoFi, trying to bounce here just below that $15 level. This thing is currently trying to get off that intraday low. They did have a slight EPS and sales beat for Q2 2026. Guidance a little bit mixed, though. Strong sales guidance for fiscal 2026, but that EPS guidance right in line with estimates. Boom Energy, on the other hand, had a really strong report, nearly doubling the EPS estimates for Q2, and their sales also beating estimates, raising their guidance for EPS and sales for the quarter, but still down on the day, or not down on the day rather, but down from where we were trading, at least initially here on that earnings reaction. Let's talk META and Microsoft. Both these names reporting after the bell today. You can catch these reports with us right here at 4 p.m. sharp for Meta and 4:10 for Microsoft. Other names reporting after the bell include the likes of Carvana, Robinhood, Starbucks, Chipotle. You've got Qualcomm, you've got ARM Holdings. There's going to be a ton. We'll be here with all of them for you at Trader TV Live. We'll also be here with that 2 p.m. Fed decision. Back to you.
Thank you, as always, Dara. And, well, that might have been, if this is the bounce you get off the 15, the false break of 15 on SoFi, take what we can get and don't be upset. It broke 15, got to 14.95, and just challenged 15.20, so it's got a 19 fill. And then VWAP sits at 1540. So looking for a target of the volume weighted average price. But if this breaks 15 again, I think that's kind of an easy out. The stock's been an absolute dog. It's crap, SoFi. It doesn't matter whether SoFi beats or not, top, bottom. I think we've seen this pattern enough that regardless of what they report, you just favor the short, at least for the first hour or the first half an hour or so on earnings day. Because SoFi did beat top, bottom. There was it wasn't a bad report. You can't really point to that. DRAM's catching a bit of a bid, so I'm going to guess SK Hynix as well. SKHY is breaking out. So SK Hynix is breaking out with the market down. That could easily drag DRAM upside. I'm just going to check SMCI, see if I like that still. Anytime you have a bounce off the lows, it's not automatic to just simply short the volume weighted average price. But if I see it fail VWAP, can't chase that candle. But if you get some kind of a consolidation, that could be a reload there on SMCI. BE is bouncing off the low day. Bloom Energy.
I like that.
Well, that gave up the ghost.
You like that?
Bloom hit 166.
Damn it, man. I know that's a name that Sharif likes. Ooh.
If this, yeah.
Another one?
Well, I asked Rob.
Oh, you asked Rob. Okay, well, thanks, Rob. And hey,
my
look,
coffee got cold.
Green for P&L today, so we say cheers for that one. Thank you, Rob.
Oh, we'll get the same
my
one.
coffee got freezing cold real quick.
Same.
Also,
That's why I
actually,
need a refill.
Thanks, Rob. That was
I
good.
don't drink cold.
But yeah, just real quick, I just want to show this, and not because that I was just, Neil was talking there, so I didn't want to blow up his scene right here. But this TRBH31, this is not, I'm not going to sit here, you're not going to get banned or anything like that for this kind of a comment. Sean is about to get blown up on Google. Too many shorts, feeling confident right now. I actually responded to that and said, yeah, this short might be cooked right there. And then so I just want to show you something here, and that is that thank you for the response there. And it's fine. I don't necessarily think the short is going to be great either. So when that came through, I just want to remind her, I'm getting, I have that same kind of feeling. This is why we're bidding out. So there's an 80, there's a 50. So it's we're getting out of Google. If it breaks too much above this 333.50, I'm just going to stop out of Google and not even have any more worries about it. So 333.50 right there is that 25 period moving average. So I just wanted to say that, we're not trying to be stubborn and sit here. That actually didn't work, 333.51. If a trade doesn't work, the best thing to do is to get out of it. Now, this trade is working, so I don't want to throw too much cold water on it, but you may be right now. The shorts, now the market is starting to bounce back up here. So just don't see, you see this move back into the 70s right there? I'm going to put another bid that I just see that happen. There we go. See that happen real time. So bang, 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 bang. I want to say thank you for the comment there. That definitely helped me look at the stock. But taking some more outs, right? And if you don't believe in something, you don't have to stay in it, and that's basically what I just wanted to say with that kind of a comment there, is if something ever changes, lighten up your position, tighten your stops, and here we go, right? We just got out at 70. Now here goes the top side to blow it out. So we get a good piece out. We're light on it. We only have 20% left of this trade. So Google, thanks for that comment. We're always watching the chat. So that was another thing I wanted to say
at all times
about that, right? So.
And Ozan reminding us in the chat specifically about SoFi could get inclusion into the S&P 500. We've been waiting for that forever, Ozan. I'm no longer holding my breath that they get that inclusion.
Yeah,
but,
that's not.
Don't hold your breath waiting for an offer from Trade the Pool. Well, you could hold your breath, but you'd already be exhaling.
Wait a minute, are we holding our breath or are we not holding our breath? What are we doing over here?
Well, there's no point because the offer's already here.
Yeah, the deal's right here.
The deal's right here, and your broker's not giving it to you. Markets are active. You're seeing it every single day, and this is going to give you opportunities as a trader. But you just have to have discipline and access to capital. Those two things if you want to take advantage. That's where Trade the Pool is going to come in for you. Instead of being limited by the size of your own account, traders can access the firm's capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing risk. No longer have the fear of being limited by the size of your account or blowing up that personal account. No more moving that stop because you're worried about your savings and giving them up, your personal savings. That's limited risk trading. And if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, you can visit tradethepool.com. Scan the QR code you see out in front of you. I want to thank them for sponsoring this portion of the show. Picky Eater in the chat just said that something just happened to Boeing.
Uh-oh, is it going?
Did it? Well, there's no crazy volume spike. Obviously you can see it's pulling back in here.
It's not nice.
I don't know. Boeing has been a bit of a range-bound mess for the last month, so it could just be. I think it's holding higher lows. I do like GE Aerospace a little bit better myself, but there's no news that I'm aware of. It just looks like it's a little bit of a retracement from yesterday, and I can't even say there's some kind of a rotation here, but yeah, giving up the gains it had yesterday, I didn't see a story for Boeing, positive or negative.
Okay, yeah, so good luck and thanks for keeping, as I said, man, thanks for keeping a lookout for us, guys, on the chat, right, for some different stocks. We will continue to look everywhere that basically you guys tell us to look, right? I mean, we're here for you.
Oh, dang it.
We do want to say a big shout out to everybody that's on the chat here one more time today. I mean, it's been a good run for us. Shout out to Ozan and anybody that's here. We can, if you have a better look, we can go with the better look. Andre or Tiffany over there if there's a better one to look at. But what's up to Chris? What's up to Picky Eater as well? Old Wise Trader. Anybody on TikTok? Now's your time. Let me say hi to you if you're here as well. Yeah, but look, one new message. Okay. What's up? There it is. What's up, T? What's up? What's up, Stephanie? Andrew is here as well. Google, by the way, as this is happening, I think it's a good opportunity to put another bid out. So we'll take a bid as we're doing multiple things over here, hosting, trading, all of that, having a good time with everybody here that is live. Wannabe trader, yeah, me too. Shout out to Blicky Spears there. We won't say sit and spin, but I just did. What's up to DJ there as well? KC Entertainment is here. And again, somebody named Mike Peter Ryder. What's going on, my guy? Dak Life is here. Tony KU official. There he is. Yeti 360 and Cregan coming through as well. For that one. But yeah, thanks everybody. It's been a good show so far. 2 shorts that are working out for us. Oh, on SpaceX, so this is another name that we already talked about. We had 20% left down here. So obviously we have a lot less as we're trying to break back above VWAP right now. Let's give this one to 1450 now. So if that breaks up, say 1111. 1114.51. That's VWAP is where we're at right now. We can maybe get a little shorter now, but we'll put a stop out there for SpaceX and make sure that that hits us out if we are wrong over there on SPCX. So just a little look there. Back into VWAP, a potential short for SpaceX. I mean, don't know if we necessarily want to do it. I think I'd rather wait, man. If we can get another opportunity, yeah, there. So I'm not going to take the short on VWAP. I'm going to wait. If we get stopped out, fine. Like I said, it's going to be a positive trade, obviously. But right into there, 115.50. I think that's a better reload spot for me. So we will wait for that trade to reload that one. And again, that battle's not really moving. And SPRC just opened up. So here's another one. I mean, this is a big one. Get that money on SPRC today, up 35% as that one's going and trying to break through some of those levels of 780. We brought this one to you live right here as it first halted at $4. Now you're at 530. So hopefully some of you had made a little bit of cash on FIEE right there as that had broken up. Now halted one more time. I'm going to throw it over to Neil. I just want to do the work here on FIEE just to see what exactly that's looking like and if there is any kind of news. Earnings in 14 days, okay, so we're not worried about that. Flow to 5 million, so that's kind of interesting. Not much of a short flow right now. And as I zoom down here, I don't see any stories here, Adara, for FIEE. Maybe there's something, maybe there isn't. But okay, so Adara's unable to find either. But nice move. Yeah, nice move higher for now on FIEE. Interest rates decision coming up with Fed Chair Warsh today at 2 p.m. We'll be here all ready to go. Yeah, what's up, Salvador?
Small float is the story.
No, it's only 6 million, right? I mean, I guess that's small enough.
It's tiny enough.
Yeah, there it is.
They report in 2 weeks. I don't know if that matters.
I don't know, Salvador. This is why I always looking at the chat. Some of you say one thing, some the other, but there it is, man. Maybe Google about to break down, says Salvador. So, okay, we'll wait for it. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. We're short now Google 38 cents in the money and still $1.50 on SpaceX. So it just bounced perfectly off VWAP, by the way.
Yeah, VWAP is still, I'm going to go to space in a second because I don't know if I like that one again, but SoFi just lost to 15. The bounce got basically to 15.19, which is the prior high, and then that's it. No further, no volume weighted average price. I'm out once it got back underneath. You got to take what you can get and try not to be upset with it. As far as SpaceX goes, I'm just reminding myself of yesterday. Like every single day actually this week. Dip, and then the low gets made at the open. 10:30 there. 10:45, and then yesterday it did it at 10 o'clock. So that, whatever that initial short, that was the plan. Like whatever the initial short is, I don't know if I like the reload because it was just Rip City yesterday. But most days it's made a temporary bottom. And SpaceX is not enough that I like the long, but it is enough that I'm not going to be fighting it, trying to be in the short side of the trade. DRAM still a very much inside day, so that feels like a bit of a nothing burger. And I just saw a name that is now piquing interest. That's going to be...
Oh, Google's tanking.
Lucid is now breaking out again.
Oh.
So
Scott
just
H in the chat.
yeah, I saw a couple people mentioning this as well. You're finally starting to go upside here in Lucid. So if it's not going to be any of the energy names, Lucid holding on to VWAP here. So trend down into VWAP, break trend, look long in Lucid. That's given the fact that Vivek and Battle are doing absolutely nothing for you if you're looking for small cappers.
I'm going to put this up on Twitter, but I just want to show you guys what I'm doing right here. And shout out to Easy Peasy and everybody that's out there. Sell, okay, what's up to, did you just talk about this? Big Smile verified? No. Sell, but don't forget to buy the blood when it starts to clot. Yeah, okay. A little gross there, but I do agree with all of that, right? I mean, once there starts to become, I think what you're saying is once it's like some sort of a capitulation down there, when the pool maybe is getting to be a little too large, is when you do want to go in and buy. And of course, our good friend who, often calls in, but, he's trying to call right now, but quite frankly, we're a little busy. We'll take his call in a minute. And that is that, when there's blood in the streets, right, is when you want to get in there and go. But I just want to show you what I did on Google. I'm about to post this. So I had written down here on the sticky note today, and, never a problem to go over, things that we write down, impossible ideas there. Google long, great trade yesterday. Obviously, we talked about that. Strong couple of days here looking to buy dips. So we did that at 333 on Google, right? We did that. And the problem is that it didn't really, there's 334. That was good early, right? We got a 336 fill. But once that 333 broke down, then we started to see a little bit of action to the sell side. So we started to go short. We actually even reloaded it. And there's a 333 fill, 332 fill. And now you're down in the money huge right now. So this is going to be, once again, it looks to be a pretty decent look here on the Google trade. We'll see if we can buy some more down here in the low 70s. But yeah, so far so good on the reversal. So I always say a big shout out to Easy Peasy because he super chatted many times and called this sort of the Katina move there. And that is to get reverse your initial thought, right? I mean, and if it gets back in and it doesn't hold your levels, then potentially you're right about the name, but wrong about the direction. So we'll get back into Google right here. And obviously we're getting a lot of luck from the market, but is it really luck? I mean, we're sitting here trading. We got to make sure that the market is always on your side. So these two shorts that I'm holding right now, one $2 in the money, and the other, and we should have, by the way, we just talked about reloading there. We should have done that. That would have been a buck. But yeah, it's hold on to your positions sometimes if the market is with you. And right now, the market is with us, so we can let these breathe just a little bit. Green P&L day, obviously pretty happy with it. Could have done better by reloading a little bit more, but at the end of the day, man, Neil and I have talked about this. Risk off a little bit today with Fed coming at 2 p.m. So yeah, good trading, and I'm glad that some of you are here with us.
Yeah, this is very different from yesterday. And in the regards with how aggressive I want to be for the real. Sorry, I was just eating a pineapple. But I did miss out. I'll stop the fail. I'm missing this SMCI reload at VWAP. It gave you the confirmation, absolutely. Let me zoom back in here. Gave you the confirmation. There's the lower high. The second that closed green, look for the topping tail candle, and then right when it came back underneath, is to try to punch back short. Like every time I'm getting short in this stock, I'm trying not to just sit there and have it run me over. Like I'm trying to take it back through when it shows you the topping tail. When it fails the break of that prior high at VWAP, like you're looking for it to get back underneath and then hit it. But we're headed to the low of the day here, so it could just be a Lucid story for me again. I'll give one more look at those small cap oil names because USO is holding a good trend up. See this? It's a nice channel up. If it just continues the channel, that can be good. But if it breaks the channel and goes parabolic, I find it hard to believe that we're not going to see a little bit of pep in the step of either Vivek or Battles at VWAP. That could also be breaking trend. So those are the two worth watching. But it is, for the small names running, Lucid trying to go here above that resistance spot of $8 and holding on to VWAP. I want to see if I can get 8s because I think you're wrong if it loses about 787. So if I can get it close to 8, risk about 15 pennies. The high from yesterday sits at about 830, which gives you a good R&R if it gets to yesterday's top. Where I expect resistance, everybody. And the only reason it went yesterday is because of a Busta Rhymes song, sort of. I don't remember the name of the Saudi prince, but you could probably look it up, disclosing a 5% stake in Lucid, and then the stock went ham. When they started recirculating the story from the morning, it went ham. Because it was an old story, and it got reposted in the afternoon, and then people acted like it was something new, and it just went squeeze.
All right, so that's not good.
I don't even think it got reposted in the afternoon. I just think it started running in the afternoon, which is even weirder. Like I never saw it on X. People never circulated.
Well, I saw it on our source.
On my feeds. Maybe, yeah, but I find I don't know, it wasn't something that I was seeing circulate much, which is pretty interesting.
All right, and here's the trade that we actually made yesterday on Lucid, as Neil was referencing right there. We missed it because I didn't pay for shorts, and it took me about a minute or two to get into that. We let Lucid sort of go to the upside, and then we shorted $8. And some of the fills down here, you can see where it was, never went against us. Well, it went against me right there, but then it came just falling back in. So that's the trade yesterday on Lucid, and a possible day 2 trade. I'll put this photo there in the chat. You guys can go give it a follow. Not the photo, but give me a follow if you want. Message me as well. I noticed yesterday on the X account there, I had 10 or so private messages, answered them all. So make sure you do, if you do want to message me, make sure you get that out ASAP. To us both anyways. All right, so there's Google. We did do some good covering down there at 332. Like I said, we were initially pretty nervous that maybe this name was starting to pick up, but then we got a nice little move back down in the futures. So we've now started to cover pretty good there at 332. I mean, again, really like the stock. It's probably my largest position now, so we'll continue to support it. All right, so we got one out there on Intel, on SpaceX. We should have taken this. When it came back into 313.30, we're kind of letting it flow down. That's when we were talking about let the market sort of work for you. But there goes SpaceX, stop out there. All good, man. Green Day, shout out to Green Day on SpaceX there, right? We're having the time of our life trading that one. So down 1.85% now is Green Day, is SpaceX. But yeah, man, I mean, there's not much. I mean, Bitcoin seems to be relatively strong. I was trying to look at
it was, but
today.
then it just lost a bit. I'm actually seeing silver breaking trend here.
Okay.
But I just heard in my ear from our news source something about it just said an IPO with an open price, and I don't see anything listed on my IPO chart. I have nothing for the 29th here, but that's fine. But I heard if there is an IPO today, I'll hunt it down, see if we can find it. Volcan there, thank you for the super chat. Is the semi-trade over nowadays?
Yes.
Oh, you could short.
I'll let you say it, and then I'll say my opinion.
No, but what does it even mean? That's where the volatility is. Look at you think the trade to the long side right now? Yeah, it feels like it. Even when they get up, look at the rejection. Every single time it feels like you're getting a little bit of strength off the open. Look at Micron the last 4 days. Look at DRAM the last few days. Look at SMCI every single day. Look at Intel after what was a good earnings report for them. Maybe holding on to the bottom, but even when it's trying to go at the open, it's just flush, 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 flush at the open. So, yeah, the long doesn't look very good, but this thing called a short. So I don't think if you're a day trader, there's still the place to be. At least one semi is going to be on your radar for momentum. It's not to the upside. I believe we're going to Adara for the small cap recap.
Keep an eye here on some of these small caps, including DFNS. This is a day 3 play right now. On Monday, they announced that XSE Security and Defense had a 16.67% stake in the company. So that stake was the reason that DFNS initially began running them. Now, of course, a couple days since that happened, $34.5 million market cap, flow to 15.3%. Short flow of 15.3%. VIVK in focus, Vivacor, this company announcing 2 long-term crude oil marketing programs, boosting their annualized activity to roughly $1.5 billion. Now, this is significant, of course, because we know oil's already in focus. So oil-related small cap here, VIVK with a $1.66 million market cap, 590,000 share float and 17.4% short float. Last but not least, FFIE, this one continuing to halt and be very volatile. No news on FFIE Inc. That's also the name of the company. $43 million market cap, 240,000 share float, 4.3% short float. As we said, you back over to Sean and Neil.
Yeah, FIEEA. All right, so yeah, good little look there on some of the small cap names as we continue to watch out for this market. And of course, when we get stopped out on SpaceX, that's the very high right there, breaking 1450. I'm not even sure if it broke it, but that would have triggered me out, 1451. So, okay, boohoo on that one. But that's about, the risk management that we talk about here. I've already today, a few fills. So you're going to make some good ones and you're going to make some bad ones. And that's part of trading. So we'll just watch out for that. And yeah, man, this is why we talk about it. Traders can win on both ends, right? And there it goes right there. The long, if you had to pick that up at 332, that was great. And then right back into 333, looking to get short again. I'm still going to wait. At 334 is where VWAP is. Where did I put my stop again? 333.51. So we're getting close to that right now off of the 200 period moving average. So we're not, sorry, that's the 50 period. We're not going to do anything with Google. We're just going to let it go. If it breaks higher, it breaks higher. You know, like I said, man, we have 15% left. We did have 30%, I guess, and got a few fills down there, but there's the out on Google. To end the trade there on Google today, yeah, pretty interesting day to say the least, man. It'll be roughly a flattish day for us, for me, I should say there, as Google does get back going. So we did take a hit there, made some money back, then got out right there on Google. And of course, SpaceX holding the day for me so far. The only other name we looked at, IBIT a little bit, and then I did want to maybe catch a little bit of strength in Intel, if there is any. You know, we just saw Google take out the 50 period moving average. Maybe that's what we look for on Intel. They took it, ripped it. So maybe Intel, if it can get going back through those levels, that could be a trade down here. Again, I like sort of the trajectory that Intel has been on to the short side. Thought there could be some, bidding happening there today. And for right now, doesn't look like that's the case. So we got to wait for Intel to make a move before we actually get involved. And then
speaking of moves,
yeah,
just a heads up to anyone that might be watching SoFi. Anthony Noto, the CEO, is on some other program. Stock probably would do better if you came on our program, Anthony, but to each their own. So he is talking about the report, and SoFi got absolutely smoked today, which they usually do on their earnings. There's a halter, small cap halter, a new one, at least it's new to me, that MSS. So halted up. I'm not making up the tap. It's halted at $3.60, looks like the last print. $4.75 is the current tap. So this one 126% to the upside, now saying $4.65 as well. So another big time runner over here with MSS, the aforementioned SoFi. 52-week lows were basically held. So the new low is 1488, and it is holding on to that bottom. I don't know if we can come to the chart just quickly. Right into new 52-week lows for SoFi. I jumped into Lucid over that $8 level. I think the momentum trade might not have been done for some of those shorts, but if I don't get VWAP, I don't want to chase anything there. I missed VWAP at SMCI, and now SpaceX did the same thing. And I'm not really seeing anything that's giving you that entry just yet, so I'm looking at some of the small cappers. Lucid over VWAP. If it loses the volume weighted average price, we'll have to jump out of that one. But it was a big time fail to have not gotten VWAP on SMCI. That's now right back into the lows. He just gave it to you twice. VWAP once at the open, VWAP again, and then you continue to flush downside. Maybe DRAM. That's already at the low of the day, so forget that. You already showed Intel's at the low of the day. I mean, I'm going to chip names to try to find something that is going to be a short, but going to hunt for something that isn't breaking the low that we can maybe get an entry in to go back to what has already worked today. And remember, everything that happens right now, the trend that we're sitting in, maybe you're holding still onto something. We do have the Fed, and this is a disputed decision. There's still a 1 in 3 chance that they could raise rates. So believe me, whatever support or resistance or technical trade you've got going on, a lot can change if we get a surprise at 2 o'clock, and believe me, it will.
I might try a long 334 if Google winds up breaking. I do have a bid in there to do that in case it happens. But Google's now, both the shorts that I got out of, are now working, and including SpaceX, which is now down. Like, again, that's why you don't want to get out of your full position. Obviously, we had 15% roughly of both of those. But yeah, man, that kind of sucks as the market right now completely turning around. Thought it was maybe going to catch a bid. Look at this Google out. Wow. We could have just given it to VWAP, right? We should have probably done that, but we thought that there's maybe some strength in the name. And again, that's part of that bias, right? Sitting there and waiting for a name to break. And then we initially thought long, and then, all right, so here's a short that I'm looking at. I am going to take a 129 break short. I was just looking at SK Hynix, and it's just like the rest of the names are down, right? Micron is down. You just sort of looked at that with DRAM as well. And trying to break lower. That's going to be your 200 period. We just bounced off of it clean. So, okay, if we do get that break, let's see if it wants to retest 128. If we are wrong on this one, we don't want to be in it for too long. So we'll try to get out. Almost like we can use our 2-minute sort of idea here that we had with Brian Shannon again. If we break back above a 2-minute bar, then we can get out. That would almost be 131. So that would be $2 worth of risk into that name. I don't think we want to necessarily do that, but it's just a 1 candle bar. That's all. So you want to get out at basically 130.20 or so. So here we go. If it breaks 129, I'm going to get involved. This is, again, another earnings play today. that's done quite well. We did get as low as on SK Hynix in the after hours there on the report of 120. Not to think that that's a marker or anything, but let's see what happens here now if we do break through 129 and, somewhere where some traders may be supporting. Now, they may be supporting it down here at 128 and change, and we'll see what happens if it gets there, if we're lucky enough to hit that trade. But yeah, Google downside still. SK Hynix looking to break a little lower. So that's a name that I am excited to look short on if it does break those levels. And then Uber just took down 70 again. So that's going to be another name that, damn it, SpaceX, man, we should still be in SpaceX and Google, but whatever, they broke. Uber, you'd have no worries being short this name. It's never really scared you since it took down VWAP right there at 70.50. Now down 70 cents, Uber down 1.29%, and that's starting to go down. Maybe you catch a bid somewhere 69 change. But yeah, SoFi is interesting to me. Maybe
it might be making a bottom.
Maybe get involved now.
It's trying to hold that 52-week low. I hunted down the IPO it's IMC. It's some rare earth company. It's $5 is the IPO price. It's incredibly small, and it's not on our platform. So it's incredibly small. I don't think that would be a trade anyways, given how small it is. Open interest is next to nothing. But for anybody that happens to be looking at it, it's currently a small sell imbalance. Yeah, I mean, I'm wishing I was still in some of those shorts, but wish.
What do you?
Oh, I didn't say if, but yeah. I know. What's Joe's phrase again? He's like, wish in one hand and you know what in the other, and see which
crap in the other, basically.
And then see which one fills first.
Too many.
So I don't want to be. I don't want to be
Grandpa's saying, I believe. So.
Well, yeah, I've heard it before, but like you look at the easy reload there at SMCI, like the FOMO thing would be to try to find a short at the bottom. Not going to do it. I could say the same thing about SpaceX as well, but it's just about moving on to the next. Like look at that one off of VWAP as well. But then I just saw Lucid might have wicked underneath VWAP, which was fine. Take the consolidation, give it to the volume weighted average price. If it wants to hold VWAP again, it would need to give me that trend break, like that little trend downside, just to give a bit more confirmation. So break this little trend line, show a little bit of higher low to jump into that bad boy. Energy doing nothing. USO continues to not break the high. So we get to the top, it's just sitting in the channel, but it is trying to go, and I do still have Vivek up. For if I see like that big spike in USO, this one it's now, look, you're talking about at least 15% here to VWAP for Vivek. So if there's any kind of break of the high, this is the one that I am watching. We just had crude oil inventories, but it doesn't really move. You worry about that tomorrow. Tomorrow, Nat Gas, 10:30, that moves. Crude oil futures, they basically don't move there. On the build here from natural gas, from crude oil. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try just against 14.95. I'm just going to try SoFi right here. Thought maybe there was maybe a chance we could get going there. It doesn't, I mean, that very bottom, we could almost wait if we really wanted to for the bottom. I was going to try to get out. There's our sloping down 25 period moving average. So I think I'm going to save myself a little bit of money there and get out if it breaks 95. But we'll take it. We're long here at O's. I'm also going to take, did I put 95? What did I put? Yeah, so maybe we can move down a little bit. Maybe we'll see if we can get even a better price here on SoFi. I was thinking about 15 flat. We could put a bid there, but then I also want to think about, that like 98 or something like that for a potential bid there as well. So we'll take some SoFi here. My first target, again, it's going to be like hopefully, right now, it would be 9 cents of a hit. So if you base your trade off of what we're dealing with now, you could get an SSR bounce, but it's not really doing that right now. So you can't go short off the bid anymore. You can only go short here. So sometimes that will create a little bit of a movement higher. But what I was getting at is my very first out right now is at 20s. So we'll see if we can, maybe I should put it here at 15s, but we'll see if we can get back into this area. So let's take, 2 to 1 or so if we can get it. And then we'll work on, hopefully better positioning. If it comes back in, we'll get a little bit of a better price. That SK Hynix didn't do a whole heck of a lot. SpaceX still down at 13.50. We'll wait to see what that does. But there's SKHY. I thought we were going to get involved, and we almost did. It went down to 129.20s. So it retraced back up on a little bit of a bump there, and now we wait to see what happens with 131. But I still am here to push this thing lower if it does break through 129. So that's what I'm looking at. And then just as Neil mentioned there, we did get that oil number. And if I look at my screen right here, it was U.S. gasoline inventories, 0.007 million barrel build versus a 1.7 draw. So that's creating this upside move. I mean, obviously it starts right here about 25, but you know, it doesn't look like, as Neil said, it gives it a little bit of a shot in the arm for volume, but for the actual stock doing anything, or sort of the actual asset doing something, oil not really moving on that. But it was a draw versus a build. So meaning that they were expecting to have more oil in stockpile, but instead there was less. So, you know, something to think about there. But yeah, obviously oil is going to move with whatever Adara's probably going to say soon as we wait for updates out of Iran. And that conflict, man, I don't think it's getting any better with China now apparently getting involved. Like that is almost oppo of what we'd like to hear. SoFi working right now. It's an amazing 6 cents in the money. Just joking about that one. Oh, it just came all the way back. So I, you know, my first out is at 19. We're going to keep it there. Let's see if SoFi can get higher. Oh, as soon as we notice that, it gets to the downside. All right, let's go back over to Adara, find out what she's up to.
What I'm up to is telling you guys about USO. As we know, we heard reports, I guess at this point, probably 10 minutes ago or so, that China will be sending rocket launchers to Iran. That was coming from the Telegraph. But we've also heard this morning that apparently the U.S. Treasury adding more sanctions to oil in Iran. I'm hearing more about these sanctions now. According to the Treasury, these sanctions will be targeting specifically, quote, Hormuz monetization. So more sanctions here on Iran related to oil from the U.S. Then, of course, China reportedly sending rocket launchers to Iran. The tensions just keep ratcheting up between the U.S. and Iran. Back to you.
I can already sense it. Like all those like small cap oil stocks are going to go ham in the middle of the day. That's when they're going to finally catch a bit of a bid. USO just continues to trend higher. The market was bouncing, so I was going to take a second shot, maybe with a better entry point on IBIT instead of just the old, hey, we're taking the break and VWAP and give it to the low and then not give it to the low, Neil. Stop placement. If you're placing a stop underneath a support level, like I'm in at VWAP, I'm out if it breaks a pre-market low, usually you actually want to place your stop below. I'm being self-deprecating here for obvious reasons, but it did double tap that bottom regardless. Market doesn't give a damn what you did before, but if we double tap the bottom, so at any trend break after holding this low a second time, I want to look long on IBIT. That's doing nothing. Lucid still doing nothing. Looking SMCI, I said I'm not chasing lows on this stock, so not short as this just continues to die, defecate all over itself. Louise, don't tell me that DJT is over $10 because that usually makes me want to pay for locates. Like, why is DJT up again?
Huge position in Neil's long-term account.
Oh, obviously. Well, no, but this is a big level on DJT. Like $10. Remember, this was a SPAC before, right? You just go back in time. This was a big SPAC, and anytime a SPAC or an old SPAC gets to $10, it's like there's price memory. It bounces off that level, it rejects that level. So it's now out and about and above.
We've all got SPACs.
I don't know if, well, I feel like everyone has some kind of a SPAC or former SPAC they've gotten themselves involved with, right? So we've all been there. DJT was it's been a great vehicle for volatility and trading, but it looks like it is breaking out over 10. If there's no story here, I'd wait for it to get back under 10 before paying for locates. Otherwise, I'm going back over to IBIT. Yeah, nothing burger there. Because if the thing about DJT is, like, there's been so many headlines that, okay, so there want to be a fusion company, and then they're going to be fintech, and it's all over the place. And so there hasn't been any one thing to latch onto for some real momentum there. Like, you take the spikes that you get, and then usually it fades back in. But $10, if it's above that, I wouldn't want to fade it. Yeah, I bet it's going to break the low here.
We did get a little bit more, as we talked about that. We were looking for better positioning there in SoFi, so we do that, and now we wait to see where it goes from here. I'm offering 09. Oh, there he goes. We get it at 09 there as it just spikes through, and we get that fill. So we get an 09 now. So there goes SoFi. We're long at 02s. We'll see what winds up happening. I do still have an 11 offer, and then we have upside from there. More shares coming out at 20s, hopefully. But I wanted to take a little bit out as our position gets a little more aggressive right now. So that's kind of how I like to trade. If we can average it in, we'll change some of our outs because we do now have about 3 units on this now. So that's, going to be a little bit of a bigger position because most of the time, we'll trade 1 or 2 units on some of those faster moving stocks or higher price stocks, I should say. And now we'll wait to see, there it is. We get the 11s as well. So that one is I get money for sure. Thank you, SoFi and Anthony Noto for that. We'll see if it can get a little bit higher. SpaceX gave us money and then we gave it back. Well, we didn't give anything back. It's still an up stock. But at the end of the day, that was a stop out there. And then my next trade idea, so I have 2 trade ideas that right now I'm pending, and that's going to be Google breaking 334 long. You know, I wrote down I like 333 long on Google. Obviously, we played the over-under there, made some money back at what we lost, but I still do think the long is there if the market breaks, but that has to happen, so who knows. The other trade that I'm working with here is SK Hynix. I might not, I've only crossed down into 80s. So if it breaks 129, I may not even get that fill. But the problem is like, you know, here it breaks it and then it goes all the way down to 20. Like, I just don't want to suffer a slippage that's just too much, you know? So I'm only going to try to take it for 20 cents on that 129 break. So if it does break and I miss it, I think I'll keep the order there pending. And then if it does do like a little back and forth, then we'll look at taking it. But now we have an easy out, right? That's 131 right there. But a 129 short, I don't want to give it $2, honestly. I'd rather have the momentum take us through. So a little bit of bouncing is fine. But if we redo take it, I think 130 right here for $1 is about the most risk that I'm going to put on to SK Hynix. So I think I just broke that trade down pretty good there. If it's something that you guys are looking at, that's my plan of action there. So we always talk about trade your own plan, and I just want to give it to you what I'm thinking. So a break there of 129, and I'm just thinking downside, right? You talked about Micron, you talked about SanDisk a little bit here today. Like Micron's broke $800. Like this name, look, still going lower right now. This does not look like SK Hynix does. SK Hynix obviously looking much stronger, and they have earnings, so there's reasons why potentially that name could get going. You remember SNDK was $2,300 at one point. Now it's 1000. No, that's good. That's good. Hey, I'm Sean. I'm born here in Canada. But that's $1,000 right there now, looking to get lower and breaking through. So yeah, what a name on that, man. That was actually $2,400. Now down to $1,000. So if you didn't think like these moves were possible, like how could SK Hynix give back 70%, or what is that from its highs? I don't know if it'll even work from that top wick, to be honest with you. Right there, 53% is what it's telling me right there on that. Okay, we're into SK Hynix. So I don't even know. So slippage, huh? We have a price better than 129.
It does that a lot.
So back and forth there. SK Hynix, we're short on this one. And we like the stock, man. It should give us a little bit of love here to the downside. Let's bid something around 75s right there. See if we can get a quick 30 cents on it. That would be a good little fill for us to start the day with, start the trade off with SK Hynix. So we're going to wait for that. And by the way, when Moon, says Anthony Anthony Noto, nice trade there for our good friend on SoFi. Let's take some more out. So far, so good, man. We're actually at the highest spot we've been at all day right now, and that's because of this move there in SK Hynix. We'll take a few fills there at 60. Now let's see if it goes low. I hope I did a good job sort of explaining this trade. The stop now goes to 130. Let's go to 130.21. Just give it a little bit more room there on that break, and we'll see if it goes to the downside. SK Hynix and SoFi, all of a sudden, interesting names to look at here as we go back over to the desk. And we could get stopped out of this SK Hynix with Adara.
It's a rough look for a lot of these tech names. Electronic tech getting hit particularly hard here. AMD, KLAC to the downside. KLAC on earnings, as we mentioned, you got the likes of SanDisk, Micron, Dell to the downside. Boeing down about nearly 5% on earnings day 2. But then you have Amphenol, this is up 5% on earnings day 1, so good look there. Finance going to be really weak as well. Citigroup, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Visa, really the only slightly great name in the sector, and this is day 1 earnings for the tech services. Google and Microsoft, the latter of which is reporting tonight, both roughly flat, but Meta also reporting tonight. It's going to be slightly red. Oracle, Palo Alto Networks, Netflix, AppLovin to the downside. But then you have Accenture and Adobe. Second day in a row, these two are very strong, so keep an eye on some of these tech names that got hit during the situation here with the SaaSmageddon earlier this year, because some of them are continuing to try to rebound. Also rebounding is oil to the upside, of course. President Trump promising retaliation against Iran for Iranian strikes or targets here of U.S. bases as of yesterday. Producer manufacturing, bright red across the board. Really can't find any strength here. But then you have consumer non-durables, strong across the board with the exception of PG to the downside on earnings. So once again here, it's the time of the year where earnings really play a role when it comes to what you're seeing in the sector board? I hear some excitement over Sean and Neil, so we'll send you back to the trading.
I mean, there's
Thank you, Dara.
always excitement.
Yeah, you just got to stick to the plan of action. Like DJT broke that $10, it broke the trend, so shorted it basically at 10, 9.90. I got a 98 fill and a 10 fill, so I'm out of the 98s, which is why it says 10. But effectively, I was short $9.99 just so you know. It's first in. We get this question a lot. It's first in, first out. The way that the system codes things. So you'll see 10, but it was really 99. Then I want the pre-market, yesterday's highs, also the pre-market high at 985. So we'll grab that bit. And then the low of the day. So trend break into the low of the day for DJT. And it's not so much that, whatever, man. Usually when DJT is up without a story, I think it's a fade. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, what I was getting excited about there was SK Hynix, and here we go. So it did break a little bit above 129 there, so I did actually put a bid at one because it went against me up to 128.70, that 129.70. So yeah, not a great initial look on it, but now that it's falling back down in, it doesn't necessarily have the juice to go here. So I'm going to start to put some bids out. My best fills down there on SK Hynix is when Adara was speaking there. We got a whole bunch out at 44s and then a bunch out at 60s. So right now I'm actually still in half of SK Hynix, looking for a move a little lower now in that space. So we'll see what winds up happening there. And then, yeah, SoFi, we got what we needed there. That was a good one. Rated up there into 17, 18s, 19s, as we said. Those would be some areas that we'd be looking to cash out on. So we actually do that there on SoFi. Good up day for us today. And, just happy to have these positions on right now. Will they turn for us? Who knows? But there go. Oh, SK Hynix almost broke through again. I am bidding, just to let you guys know, I'm bidding 38s for some reason. So hopefully that fill comes through. I don't know how we're bidding 38, but we just need a little bit of a push down there. We'll get that, then some more at 128 flat, and then we'll see if there's a downside play. Our out still remains at 130. So hoping to get a little bit more success on that play there if it does come back in, and then a nice little bump back up in SoFi would be well traded and well appreciated as well. So yeah, man, so far so good here. But hey, man, it hasn't been big, huge positions. So, but it's been fun.
We got Cheese in a chair here with another super chat. So here's your trade thesis for today. Okay. ZSL, which is, that's a short silver short ETF. It's an SLV short ETF, just to be a little more specific. There's little chance of rates going down.
Okay.
There's no chance of rates going down. That's what the market's pricing. But raising rates and rising oil equals short silver, and no change in rates is still a silver short. So, yeah, I don't really mind that thesis whatsoever.
What do you think about if Warsh does somehow lower these? But you know what? It's not Warsh anyways. They have to vote it on that.
You know why I don't even think it's a thing?
There goes SK.
Because in my opinion, if for some reason they do lower rates, the spike that would cause in the market, you won't be able to punch long.
No,
you're not getting it. It would be such a shock that the liquidity vacuum that would get created, you're not getting a punch anyways. So you're not getting any kind of a long, and they're not going to.
Sad face.
It is either going to be no change or a 1 in 3 chance that we get a rate hike. So I think that I do like that thesis. You said ZSL, so I should pull up ZSL ZSL instead of SLV. Oh, okay. That would make some sense, but. Anyways, this is just a reverse silver ETF. This isn't doing any. This is doing 600,000 in volume because remember they reverse split it. When it was cheap, it was doing hundreds of millions when it was in play. So I don't know that I like that better than SLV with 3.3 million in volume. It's trend down. It's making lower lows. All the good stuff. Yeah, to me, a lot of times you trade the ZSL for liquidity, like it's just better liquidity. It's not better liquidity right now. So I'm guessing you can't short SLV. We can here. Like I can go, before I say that, we can short it for free.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it and then it's like, oh, by the way, Neil, we have to pay for locate. So I understand if you don't have the ability to short SLV, then ZSL makes some sense. But it is no longer better liquidity. That was the appeal when it was like a couple of dollars before they did the reverse split, is people were pushing a lot of shares and there was tons of liquidity. Now up at like $32, I don't see the advantage of ZSL.
All right. Just quickly, we are getting out some more SoFi, and here it goes, man. SK Hynix, it's going to break out. We just got filled down there at one. We got our 38 fill there as we start to break higher. So it looks like after all this, we'll be close to flat on SK Hynix, and it's just too bad because there goes the rip through right now. SKHY Hynix is what I'm looking for and struggling with there. As we do have our stop order. There it goes. It just filled there, breaking through 130. So stopped on SK Hynix. We do have to slap a little bit of a fail on that move, but we tried it. It was there until it wasn't, and now the market. I don't know, man. Maybe that was just a bad out. I don't normally do this and just get right back in. Let's try a little bit of a better price. I mean, we were short there at 129. Let's give this one to 130.50s. There it is. Look at that. We take a look at that. We get it right back in. Yes, sir. Another 50 cents there. Thank you, SK Hynix. Come again. If we can keep on doing this, that'd be good. So we make a little bit of money back, but we do get stopped out there. But there it comes back. We take a 37 fill. So there it comes right back in again, SK Hynix. Whatever, man. This is life of a trader. This always seems to happen. But there it goes. And then we did take a little bit more out there on SoFi. But yeah, what you guys want to talk about, MSSS. I know Neil mentioned this a couple minutes ago. It has halted a couple times right here and looking to take out 360 right there on MSSS. What that looks like on the daily chart here is broken through everything. So it looks like we did have a reverse split there. Looks like that was most likely 45 cents up to 250. So maybe 8 to 1, I don't know, 7 to 1. That doesn't normally happen, so we'll have to wait to see what that was. And then right into here, this looks like a reverse split to me for sure.
1 to 10 and 1 to 5, I think.
1 to 5. Okay, yeah, exactly. So this is the 1 to 10 right there. This is the 1 to 5 as it's trying its darndest to get back under or over $1 and stay there, so it does not get delisted. That's MSS.
Well, now it's the 5. It's the market cap now, right? So.
When does that take effect? Is it? I know they voted on it and passed it.
Yeah, great question.
Regardless,
Darryl probably remembers.
Yeah. The 5 million rule there that you have to be above. So I don't know if you know about this, Adair. You might have been not here.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear about this.
For those days. So there's a new rule in the NASDAQ where it used to be 30 days under $1, you're delisted. Now it's 30 days under 5 million market cap.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe if you could find that story and just and see.
Because they're well under the 5, but I don't know if that's in place yet.
So you still need 30 days. So it's just because it's under there for 29 days. That last day is when all the excitement happens because that might be the reverse split day, right? So
or when someone tries to pump it.
Yep, something like that. SoFi's right back up to the highs again here. So I'm going to take another, and by the highs, I just mean of the move. So we'll take another fill here at 16 as we get lighter on SoFi. But there it goes, upside. I still am waiting for 19s. This is the best we've gotten. We actually got out a bunch of 10s there just because. So now we'll have to wait to see what SoFi wants to do here, hoping we get those 19s at some point. And then SK Hynix, man, I mean, good outs there at the 200 period, but it looks like it wants to go higher. A break of 130.50 here on SK, and we'll take out our AK and start to spray a little bit here.
Go Animal Thug, put the AK away.
Yeah, well, I have to take it out, though, because this I have to defend myself.
Shout out to Noriega.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody
in the chat.
Naughty by Nature
nobody in the chat's getting that one. Animal Thug. That album was a trip, man. That album was an absolute trip. The market might be trying to make a bottom. And I say that if you just take a quick look at the NASDAQ, I got SMCI in the mind. This is the first green candle on the 15 since this indecision candle at the open, which that's obviously a weak candle, and you see what happened to the market after that. But remember, you've still got this low on Monday at 27.6. Even if we bounce, can it get back above some prior lows? And then there's a little bit more juice to this potential trade. What's so crazy about, I'm still a little bit surprised by these oil names. We're going to go to Adair for Money Talks, but I just wanted to quickly show USO is now back to, it just hit 130 and pullback. The upward trend is not stopping. You cannot tell me that between Battle, and I know we're going to be done, but keep an eye on these in the middle of the day. Battle is now cresting VWAP. Look at this resistance at 146. You're not going to keep trending up on USO without one of these breaking out. So Battle looks like it's primed to be the one to go, but we'll take a quick look at the others after we go back to Adair at the desk for Money Talks.
So I did look into that NASDAQ rule with the $5 million market cap. Apparently it went into effect the day after it was passed, so July 23rd, 2026. But Don't quote me on that. I couldn't find too much on it, truthfully, and I went through the entire filing, but people are saying it went into effect the day after. If I see anything else, I'll let you know. Let's take a look here at the US dollar right now. This is just continuing to kind of chop around here. Yesterday, we broke a 3-day green streak with this red candle. Today, slightly green, but watch the DXY at 2 p.m. today when you get the FOMC decision. Now, as we've mentioned, there really hasn't been much economic data of note at all leading up to this FOMC decision. Tomorrow, though, we're going to start getting some pretty interesting economic data bright and early at 8:30 a.m. PCE, core and non-core month-over-month and year-over-year for the month of June. We are expecting slightly cooler than the prior print for all of these readings here. So core and non-core PCE month-over-month and year-over-year, specifically PCE non-core month-over-month, we're expecting a negative print. So that's going to be of note here. We'll also get tomorrow morning at 8:30 the GDP print, consumer spending, and consumer income. We'll take a look as well at what people are expecting from today's hearing and for some of these other announcements going forward. July 29th, 2026 meeting, that is, of course, going to be just a couple hours from now. 66.3% of participants expecting rates will be held. You've got another 33.7% expecting a 25 basis point hike. If you go forward to September, you have now a 56% chance of a hike, 20% chance of rates being held, and a 23% chance of a 50 basis point hike. You're seeing also chance potentially of another hike in October, but the larger hike chances pick up here in December. So basically what we're seeing here, guys, is we'll likely get 2 hikes this year, as we've been seeing for the last couple of months now, one in September, the other in December. But I think things will really change around depending on what we get from Fed Chair Kevin Warsh and the other 18 members of the Federal Reserve Board coming through at 2 p.m. today. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Dara, right there.
Thanks.
We did tweet out the fact, we have this button.
I was going to hit
Thank you
it.
very much, Dara.
Yeah, SoFi right here, we're long 15. So right now, I even tweeted it out and I just kind of said right into here. I don't know if it's right. I said, SoFi caught the lows here, I think. I don't know. We'll see what happens with SoFi. We did talk about it bouncing off its 10% level there, so we like it there on SoFi. Let's see if it wants to work itself out a little bit right now and just get back to the upside. Okay, we have a new position alert. It's Google, by the way, and that just popped in on the break of 134. I don't want to give this one too much love. It hasn't been a really great friend of mine today as we've gone back and forth with it. So let's take out just a little bit here. It's a much bigger, it's a unit and a half. It's not a huge position, but it's still something. Let's wait to see what happens with Google. I just got a little bit out there. I didn't even realize what just happened, actually. And that was it broke already on me and went up there. We actually got to fill on the way back down. So I was way too focused. Yeah, get down, says Sharif. There was a little bit not focused on that name, but it does come back into 334. So there's that break that we talked about. There's our in on Google. Let's see what happens to Google. What's going on, Laszlo, Sebastian, my good friends are here. Again, as everybody's here. This is a worldwide show right now. We want to thank everybody for joining us on TikTok and on YouTube. As the party just getting started, it's about to be our flagship show.
And then remember, it is still Fed today, and we're not even done after the Fed. We take you into the close there today. Then you got big time earnings after the bell. But someone just asked in the chat, you keep talking about the Fed. Why not actually just do a poll?
Yeah, let's do it.
Keep it pretty simple. I'm putting the option out there for everybody because people will always want to have more options. Very simple. What's the Fed going to do today? Raise, type 1. No change, type 2. And you can type 3 if you think they're going to lower. I expect to see absolutely no 3s in there unless we're being trolled. Because, look, the Fed is not going to, they're not going to lower rates. It's going to be a raise or it's going to be a nothing burger. Only 10% early look. And remember, if you want to participate in the poll or in the chat or in the community, then you need to be a subscriber. Hit that subscribe right now. Jump in there. Type 1, 2, or 3. That's pretty simple. It's easy to do. You click a button. You enter the chat. You type a number, and then your voice is heard. 15% right now saying a raise. That is significantly lower than what the market's still pricing in 35% chance. It's about what our viewers were saying the other day as well. I just jumped into iBits, finally broke that trend.
Nice.
So, I don't know. We get the pull down there. Ooh, I like how we do that.
That's what I was going to say. We need to have a better look.
Yeah, instead of that full screen where we have to show the entire thing. That's much, much better than we can keep it on the bottom there. For sure. Two things. So new position, IBIT. Want to get to VWAP for the first look. There's trend break, give it to the low. And then I'm still in DJT, but I've now trailed it for obvious reasons. So it just held VWAP underneath. and I'm looking for this low here at 975. But if it breaks the volume weighted average price, I'm going to get it out. That's always a moving target, but we'll probably leave it in there. So DJT to the downside. The market is desperately trying to bounce. It's not doing the best job of it just yet. And I do feel if we're going to make a bounce, here's a name. Is this the first time? I want to make sure we're contractually obligated to at least bring up NVIDIA's chart at least once per show.
No, we're not.
So with 2 minutes to go, triple bottom here on NVIDIA. Don't at me if I've just jinxed NVIDIA, but it's resisting just like the futures were. It's resisting the prior lows. So resistance where there was support yesterday. You break that and you have a chance to rally, but all bets are off when you get to the Fed. Just keep that in mind. Technicals are completely irrelevant if they give us a surprise. The wicks that you will see, if you've never seen a Fed day, if they were to shock us, what you see at 2 o'clock is your quotes losing their minds, as there's just a gap. But I still expect no change.
I don't.
But if they were to raise rates, you're going to see quotes absolutely blow up.
Quotes might be nuts anyways because of the uncertainty.
Just because of the uncertainty.
A little bit right there.
We've seen it before.
But let's go 50. We are just like, honestly, man, this SK Hynix took us a minute to find a good level there, and it just was VWAP. Like, dude, just wait for VWAP, man. Dude, where's my car? Like, all we had to do was wait for that trade to come through, and then, we sprayed that AK all the way to the downside there, covered a little bit down at 129. It's always a good time when we leave the show at our highest spot we've been at all day. So that's what's happening right now for me on Google. Dude, thank you to Google. But we'll wait to see if it does continue its upside move. We didn't take advantage of that latest move right there into the 200 period moving average. We should have. Our best fill there is 45s, but we'll wait to see if Google can get back up to the upside there as we continue to get a little higher on Google. And then SoFi, that goes all the way up to VWAP. So of course we're gonna, clap out of that one a little bit. I'll take a little bit more here at 24 if we're able to get it, and then we'll just let that one sort of run through. SpaceX, man, do not look here because that was a horrible out there on SpaceX. Still a top stock for me today. Well, not really anymore, but was. Now SoFi, my number one name today, but SpaceX was number one, now number two. We did take it out on that break above VWAP. Boo for me as that gets into 112. Of course, where we always say where these so-called players dwell. So we'll watch out.
Georgia.
We'll wait out for that one. And then, hopefully Google continues to run up. So by the time I get back, we'll see where these names are. But my stop for Google is 333.75. That's my stop there. My stop for SK Hynix is a 131 break of VWAP. And then my stop for SoFi is 1497. 1494. So again, 6 cents. Like, this is the other thing, 6 cents worth of it. We talked about where our stop was on SoFi. Now in the money, 26 cents. So there it is, man. Another 5 to 4 or 5 to 1 there on SoFi. We still have a decent position left. So yeah, pretty good. It's 11 o'clock right now. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks everybody for joining us. One quick update. It's not a big IPO, but there is one. IMC. It is now a buy and balance of 1.5 million.
Ooh.
So that's actually not bad. Paired volume 1.8. It's still indicating a flat open. The issue was 5. It's telling you the auction price is 5.
Are you going to take it if you're here or no? Okay.
$5? I never heard of it. It didn't even make our research. So it's a hard no for me. I'm not touching that thing with a 10-foot pole. But for anyone that is interested, there is an IPO today. And there's a bigger one coming tomorrow. Jersey Mike's. By this time will not be open tomorrow.
We got to get some subs in here, man, for the Jersey.
It would make a lot of sense.
I think we're going to.
There's a Jersey Mike's.
We're going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, we just probably get like Uber Eats.
Who is hitting?
What is
there?
What is wrong with Jersey Mike's? Well, I'm looking around. Oh.
Who hit that?
I'm looking around. I'm not looking at anybody.
The fact that Neil immediately looked at me as if I did something.
I looked around.
At Joe.
I just looked around.
How dare you? That is crazy.
Who hit it?
I
thought me and Ram were cool.
Steady snitching, man. Snitching out here.
Ramin, you don't like Jersey Mike's?
Yeah, man. That's crazy. Like right away, Joe.
Okay.
Man,
right.
The flies.
I don't know if anybody can hear these guys.
Get that
we'll pass on this for now.
here.
Unbelievable.
But we're going to throw it over to these guys so we can talk more about that Jersey Mike comment there from Ramin. That's
haters.
I don't. Normally, I put my mic away and I say hi to her.
That being said,
I don't know anymore.
Good point in the chat.
Definitely.
The person who dislikes the carbs that would be in a sub the most is Sharif.
Forget the carbs.
But Sharif probably hit because he doesn't like the carbs.
All my life, I didn't even touch
touch it. My hands
didn't
are on my
touch it?
phone,
Why
man.
are you blaming Sharif over
Somebody,
here?
somebody had to hit that button. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
Ramin apparently did.
Of course it is. Look at her, bro. Just look at her.
So look, anyways, we're gonna.
I know we have integrity.
I know it wasn't us.
So.
And I know the chat is down with Jersey Mike's tomorrow.
Like, watch how easy this is. This is me hitting fail. There we go. I hit it.
Like you'll see,
You know,
if I'm not even on the right page, but if I'm being hit.
Thank you, Ramin. Thank you for Ramin to come on and tell people what's good. So thank you to Ramin for that one. I knew she was a real one. Okay, Battle's making a move. That's Sharif's way of saying stop talking. It's the midday. Sharif, we got you, guy. We got you. Don't worry about it. It's the midday madness, and it's about to start now.
Peace.
Everybody's